Dance for Super. The Dragons teach us that if we want to climb high, we must do it against the wind.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another week of the Overwatch League 8-Pack Edition. I'm Achilleos here with Avril. We're going to be carrying on our merry way down this road that we call the Mid-Season Madness Qualifiers. And here we go, kicking things off. An ever-important series, as per usual. It's going to be the Fusion going up against the Guangzhou Charge. Charge already far out of contention to be able to participate in Mid-Season Madness, but the Fusion have to win.
I'm gonna be real. I couldn't hear you, Seth. So I don't know what you said. I imagine just the standard stuff here. I don't know if you can hear me at all, but yeah, we got some great games coming up today.
I can hear you now, and you should be able to hear me.
Woo! There it is.
There we go.
I know what you're saying.
Well, minor adjustments.
We're talking to each other again. There we go. We're in here. We're in here for the final week of the Qualifier for Mid-Season Madness. As you can see, the season standings here, 3 teams have clinched their way into the tournament. 2 teams have been eliminated, and only 1 spot remaining between the Philadelphia Fusion and the Chengdu Hunters. We've got our orange teams currently battling for the 4th and final seed going into the actual tournament itself. Our first international of the entire year. A lot at stake for those 2 teams.
Yep, we can only afford a half order of the Orange Chicken Bowl for the midseason madness. So we'll see which one of these two teams is going to be able to qualify. Like you said, Fusion up that point. That is the one little advantage that they have for themselves at the moment. But they do come into the series and get ready to take battle against the Guangzhou Charge, who, while they are 1-9, while they are at the bottom of the standings and cannot qualify for the tournament themselves, have put up some decent performances from time to time. Thinking back, Choice A1 popping off, taking down Profit. Fusion cannot go into this matchup lightly. They cannot be expecting to have a free win, because that complacency is when you can get caught off guard.
I think for the Fusion so far, they've had a really interesting season. We started out in Kickoff Clash. They make it to the finals. They defeat the Shanghai Dragons 3-0 both times. But in the recent form, the Shanghai Dragons are more than caught up. They defeat the Fusion 3-0 instead. Fusion have also lost a couple other games in there. Most notably, they did actually lose to the Chengdu Hunters, which will affect them a little bit, because when we get to head-to-heads and we get to tiebreakers, if Fusion end up having the same points as the Chengdu Hunters are probably going to get in there. So Fusion, they need to rack up these games. Because they have that one extra point ahead, like you sort of mentioned, they only need to win one game to force the Hunters to win 2 games. So if the Hunters win 2 games, Fusion have to basically also win 2 games. They cannot be tied with the Chengdu Hunters. They have to be ahead of the Chengdu Hunters. And so this one to start things out with versus the Guangzhou Charge, who we'll introduce here as well. The Philadelphia Fusion, I mean, it's of utmost importance that this is definitely the game they win, because the game that they have to play afterwards is versus Seoul, where they have much less of a chance.
Yeah. Well, here's the Guangzhou Charge starting 5. We will be seeing Krong once more. Winston hasn't been as much in the meta, so we're just going to be taking the back seat. Sigma, especially, has been coming up quite a bit, and Krong was formerly one of our best Sigma players in the league, a role star, an MVP candidate in his own right, and has been kind of getting back into that form where he's finding a good amount of impact when he does have that pick coming through. So we'll see how the team looks today, because pretty much everybody on this roster has shown incredible performances throughout their series, even though they often result, except for the first time, in losses. Far away on that Zenyatta, looking utterly impeccable. Unique has had his moments. Krong on the Sigma has been looking good, and Choice A1 kind of consistently throughout has been looking incredible for the Guangzhou Charge, but they haven't been operating at the same level. They haven't been finding their impact together. If it can happen at the same time, the Fusion, they have a whole lot of things to be concerned about.
Yeah, the Guangzhou Charge are currently on a 9-match loss streak as well. The only game they've won so far in the season was versus the LA Valiant in, I think it was the opening day even, of the entire season.
First week, first day?
Yeah, first week, first day. First only win for the Guangzhou Charge since then. Like you said, they've had some inklings of success. They've, taken some maps here. They took Dragons to 5 in that opening kickoff clash as well, which is quite interesting. And they've looked reasonable at points, but only in very sporadic small amounts, right? Like never enough to get a full series. They look decent for a single map, but then the rest of the series, not so much. So for the Guangzhou Charge, we'll see if anything changes here in the final week qualifiers. Obviously, they can't qualify, as we mentioned, but still playing for points, still playing for playoffs opportunities towards the end of the year. One team that they've not had great success against is the Philadelphia Fusion, as you see here on the stat line. 3-0 for Philly. In fact, the last 3 meetings out of 4 total for all-time meetings between these 2 teams, it's been 3-0s in Philly's way the entire way.
And it has been. Clock will now tick down. Gates will open. We'll get ready to jump right into the action. Doomfist out the gate from Krong. Bell 3 are going to be going for the Wrecking Ball. You see Zest there with that Sojourn, but it's going to be Ash Trace on the opposite side.
It's important that Krong has a really good Doomfist here, so we'll see if he's been practicing that over the week as well. When you opt to play your off-tank play instead of your main tank player Rio, right, your dive options cannot at this stage be a D.Va. You pretty much have to be very good Doom, because we're not expecting to play Winston, not expecting Krong to play the ball either. Right away, though, it's Philly on point first, so Krong has to move in.
First cap going to be going through. Fusion able to net that one for themselves. Flying, tucked in the corner. Belsry going to be taking a nap here for a brief moment. Tries to slide away. Looks like he will be able to escape, but now can grab that Mega Pack if it's available. Dynamite around the corner. Just going to be clipping onto a couple of the members here on the side of the Fusion as Zest takes a nasty headshot, but widely it's going to be all right. Krong now trying to get involved in the back line. The dive is there alongside Choice A1. They took MN3 dangerously low, but they cannot get that elimination. Now the Dynamite just going to be ticking away once more as the Belt tries to build up for this Bob. MN3 going to be eliminated. The Dynamite finding the elimination at the end of the day. Good opening kill, but can they play off the back of it? Now they have Bellisria gone as well.
It's +2.
Should be able to make something happen here.
Yeah, I mean, they have 2 plays, an advantage here. Fusion Still waiting for Bellisria to return. Guangzhou Charge need to convert further. They have a lot of members in their background. I mean, look at that. They can punch somebody off if possible, but Krong gets taken down, or at least he's been CC'd.
Yep, Unique, however, has fallen, but the flip is there, and it's going to be 3 more kills coming through. Now a 4th as Zest goes off the side of the map. Far away. Casualty here on the back end, but otherwise things looking rather good here for the Charge. On the back end of the fight, Krong can rejoin rather quickly.
The interesting thing for the Fusion as well is they don't have a diving DPS outside of Sojin, who's still pretty much a mid-range sniper, right? Actually running a double sniper composition between both MN3's Ashe and Zest Sojin, and no trace to either punish Krong or the follow-up dives with Bellisria, so it is an interesting comp from the Fusion. Not super standard as I would imagine here. Guangzhou Charge have also managed to win that without really using anything, so they got 3 ultimates online, 2 more coming up. I say they won it, but it seems brief because the cap is already gone. They only got 19%. Philadelphia already back on the point.
Alright, there's the Meteor Strike. Dropping in, Krong looking for the punch, looking for something. He's desperately trying to get that green HP, but he cannot. MN3 will finish him off. Choice A1 and its parting gift. Will be that pulse bomb, but does get taken down. The Fusion back in control. Charge only able to accrue 19% as Zest gets some squats through. Guangzhou Charge going to have to reset once more. Now they're in the final fight.
That's pretty sad. I mean, 3 ultimates expended. Both the supports ended up not having the opportunity or just didn't end up using those ultimates between the Nano or the Transcendence. Krong diving in deep with the Meteor Strike, Bob being taken down. Philadelphia now in last fight. And they got 4 ultimates played through, including their own bomb.
Is playing up over the top there, poking and prodding. Desperation going for the Genji. We saw the Genji clutch coming through from MN3 this last week, but yeah, good first kill. Aim God now going to be taken out, but they lose the front line on the side of the Guangzhou Charge with Krong falling. Choice A1 going to be nanoed up, but he's not really able to get into a position to do too much damage. He's still going to be poking and prodding. The Transcendence helps to escort him forward onto the point. MN3 now going to be taken down as Zest goes on the offensive, tries to jump into the back line. He's trying to jump far away, but he cannot. The Dynamite will burn him down. Thinks of falling as well, means that the flip should be there for the side of the Charge. They will be able to nab it at 99.
Messy, but thanks to Choice of One's heroics to getting the first kill to Aim Guard, reduce the amount of healing output from the Philadelphia Fusion. It's really sad to see Krong going down that quickly as well when you have Nanos available. Transcendence coming through as well, but unfortunately all of it just too late. Nano ends up going over towards Choice of One, so next best target, get some damage in there, going to charge and attacking both their DPSs. Will still be able to make the necessary trades even despite the ultimates used by the Philly Fusion. Aim God coming back on the Zen now as well.
And he is Krong going to be taking a nap, knocked to the floor, and he's going to be resting there for a little while longer. Aim God going to be antied out for now. The Dynamite has expired on him, so relatively will be safe. Fusion start making their way back over the point to get this flip back through and try to finish out the map.
Should be a cap.
Zest.
Unless.
Yep, going to be taken down. Choice M1 finding the dash through. Gets that elimination. Krong under fire with the Discord Orb already. Has put the arms up to try to keep himself protected. Has to take a leap away. Grabs the Mega Pack. The flip in the meantime has come through. Bob to contest the point, but it does not last very long. And all they melt through him rather quickly with relative ease. Takes a dead. Aim God now gone. No supports here for the side of the Philadelphia Fusion. Charge once more have an opportunity to get this flip through. They're getting the cap coming through. Develop with some great shots. And the Charge once more in control.
39% of his team's damage so far. Develop's certainly been putting up the numbers versus the Philly Fusion. And definitely with a couple of reported frags there, including, we saw how the Charge slowed down Fusion, despite Fusion getting 2 picks early. The flip came in, but it comes at a time where Charge can absolutely contest. Bob buying space and time as well. Now Charge can play the final fight. Nanoblade.
Blade coming through, rally rolling, Fixa taking the shield bash to try to create some distance. One more slash would finish him off, but Choice A1 cannot chase any further forward, and he's already gone too far. MN3 does find that punish. Overtime going to be forced out. Fixa going to be traded. Transcendence out from far away, keeps Unique alive. Zest now going down. The Guangzhou Charge might just be able to make this happen. The pile driver not going to connect. The Bellisria is far too low to try to contest. Transcendence now going to be used. Aim God squirting forward, manages to get them here onto the point, but can they win out the fight is the question. Bob going to be invested. MN3 trying to zone them back. Bob taking a nap for now. Krong trying to set up a punch, knock somebody off the side of the map. Sends into sights over the Bellisria, who will fall. Aim God taken down moments before. Picks it back in on this Lucio. Just trying to buy some time, trying to play elusive. Hits down to the ground. Krong getting chipped away at, but the heals come through from Unique. They will manage to keep him alive. Pixa continuing to buy some time, eventually does die, and as the OT bleeds away, it's going to be the Guangzhou Charge taking the first round.
That's incredible from the Guangzhou Charge, honestly. I mean, the ability to stay alive towards the end there, Krong outliving most of his previous lives on this Doomfist in that final fight. Choice of One might have died in an autoplay, but he respawns. I mean, Charge don't really lose anything further than that. Transcendence coming through from far away. Philadelphia Fusion wanted to match the Trans towards the end, got grouped away slightly. They only had 3 members up, just keeping Balestria in, but the damage was lacking. You just definitely did not see the same output from MN3 as you did on Develop, so I got to give it to Develop there. That Ashe worked out in terms of the actual matchup between Charge versus Fusion, and that Ashe versus Ashe, Develop comes out on top in a big way.
Worth mentioning, everybody, we hear the audio as well. It's something that's being worked on at the moment, so just bear with us while that does get fixed. But if you think it's a little bit difficult to watch, just try doing commentary when there's audio coming through from multiple sources, you know? It could be worse for you, is what I'm saying. Anyway, far out now, going to be taking to the sky here. Choice A1 changing it up as well. We'll be picking up the Tracer, and then 3 going to have to be the sole person really trying to snipe this far out of the sky.
And that's the thing about playing Pharah in Overwatch 2. You can't really afford to attach the Mercy pocket anymore. Losing that one support to pocket a single Pharah is not really ideal, so if you want to play Pharah, you end up having to play with the Zen, pocketing with the Harmony instead. It seems to be paying off so far with 2 easy frags.
Quick kills coming out. Choice A1 getting tagged low, but the Guangzhou Charge will be able to establish first control of the point. Rockets pushing forward. Choice A1 starting to get a little bit more confidence. Gets 2 direct hits in. MN3 gone. Unique weaving through that Bionade also gets fixed at the same time. So Charge, this fight is a wash. The cleanup going to be coming through now as Fusion have to reset.
6 kills for nothing so far. It's about as clean as you could hope for. Choice A1's ultimate charge, by the way, already on 93% after 1 fight. It's an extended fight rate. Again, 6 kills coming on through. Nano almost available. And it's another situation where Barrage is pretty tough. We've seen in previous times, or rare times that we have had Pharah, usually when the fire barrages, they just die. So how Charge will protect this Pharah is going to be very interesting to me. Does Choi even really go for much of a barrage? Maybe a solo barrage would be enough.
Okay, clears out the Immortality Field. Good push away from Bellisria, tries to create some space, but the barrage will come through all the same. Both supports dropping to the floor. MN3 only able to finish off the stationary Pharah at the end of it all. Bellisria just trying to escape. Looks like they will leave MN3 to go ahead and send a message back to the other Fusion.
Yeah, it's as I mentioned, right, the Pharah does die, but in that case, you've already deleted the Immortality Field. Just gonna go and sacrifice your life, pick up 3 kills, totally worth it. Next up, we develop to see if we can get a frag. And yeah, this is just gonna be a number of kills coming through. Traded on both ways, though.
Game. 1 for 1, but him got down. No transfer, an extended fight. And a very slow walk back for the Zenyatta that likely needs to be protected. Given the Choice A1 is going to be hovering around. If he gets on top of him, he will be able to blow him up and force that ult in a pretty poor position. Great stick! From Fixa, Immortality Field goes through, however, it keeps him alive. The Pulse Bomb just didn't kill the Immortality Field. Transcendence now going to be used. Far away, suspecting the dive from the back line. Choice A1 in the meantime, he is coming up with massive numbers, and as you say, it is last fight. Meteor Strike, Krong trying to stay alive so far. Unique, the only one to get dropped to the side of the Guangzhou Charge. Fusion trying to fight tooth and nail to get something done to get themselves onto the point. The minefield is there. Zest will find Farway, but is that going to be good enough? Bellisria can attack lower and lower. The beam comes back online, and they will be able to melt him down. And Choice A1 is putting on an absolute clinic. Gets the body blocked through the window, denying MN3 a little bit of access. He still makes his way through. The Bob is now there to try to contest, and it finishes off Krong. Sleep Dart from Unique will kill MN3, but now they have to clear the Bob and try to deal with him, or just wait him out. This does give it a little bit of an opportunity for Bellisria to try to get back into position. The dash is Zest. Last possible second. Manages to get that touch through. The fight not done yet. Fusion starting to tick up. Bellisria charging up the punch, exits to the opposite side. Develop takes the 1v1 there versus Zest for a moment. Now turns his sights away to the opposite side. Name God does go down. Zest moving forward. The Pulse Bomb goes through, finds Unique, but Develop gets Bellisria. Choice A1 out of the fight. It's going to be 3v3 here for everything, but now Zest is gone. Develop comes up with another one, and that's good enough. They clear the point in the Guangzhou Charge. They will draw first blood, taking Lijiang Tower over the Fusion.
Great stuff from the Charge. I mean, this is really brilliant play. We got hints. We have had, over the course of the season so far, small hints of the Charge having great performances like this, but we haven't seen too many times that they've been able to close it out. My biggest question now will be, can they keep this up for the rest of the series? Because they will, as I mentioned in the pre-show here, have these kind of one-map wonders, but they severely outplayed the Philadelphia Fusion, especially on Garden. That opening 6 frags to nothing lead was immense from the Charge, and they snowballed heavily off the back
yeah.
of that one. Both Develop and Choice of One, we talked about Choice of One, Develop as well in that first map on the Ash, and then coming back on the Tracer 4 map 2 as well, or round 2 I should rather say. Really good stuff. I think legitimately Develop and Choice of One outplayed the MN3 Zest duo, this very lauded rookie superstar duo of MN3 and Zest did not look good in comparison to Develop and Choice of One on this map so far in Lee Jung-Tao.
Certainly not. A lot of things to try to work on here in just a couple minutes that they have during the break. Fusion, you see the coaches immediately storming into the room and chatting things up to figure out what they need to correct moving forward into our next map, which is going to be King's Row for Hybrid. That's going to be coming up in just a few minutes. We'll see if the Guangzhou Charge can continue this performance, push forward, move up to match point, or if the Fusion will be able to answer back and tie it up as they so desperately need to do. Don't go anywhere. Action is going to be continuing in just a few. And we are back, one map into the series, and it's the Guangzhou Charge who managed to draw first blood. Really great back and forth, some clutch moments coming through from them on that first round of Night Market, but Gardens was so very clean the whole way through. And as you were mentioning, MN3, Zest just couldn't quite hold a candle to develop and Choi Se-won. They had the better of them. They ran away with the map. Now we find ourselves 1-0 up the Guangzhou Charge with King's Row on the horizon.
I have to give some props to, I think, the hidden MVP in there as well, the unsung hero, the Charge, that has been, I think, consistently good the entire way through the season. That's Farway 1987. The amount of first picks that he got, some of the first picks I saw he got on Aim God as well, so taking down his counterpart, really impressive stuff. And I think just stuff like that will give the Charge the opening lead, give them player advantages. So as we move into map 2 here, we saw substitution there. It is going to be Fury coming in for Bellisria as we move over towards a hybrid map. It's going to be King's Row. You'll see in a second. So opting to play more of the Sigma style kind of stuff, maybe even the Zarya. I think Krong will enjoy that as well because he gets to play sort of his best heroes. Krong versus Fury, I think it's going to be a great matchup.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's two incredibly storied tank players who have been, nominated for All-Stars, etc. in their own right. So we'll see who is going to be able to come out on top. But right now, Fusion, they absolutely have their work cut out for them. We'll see if that pep talk from the coach is coming through, if that's going to be enough to make the adjustments necessary for them to find victory. But as you did mention, there is another little caveat that we need to keep in mind, which is that Charge do often have that kind of one map wonder that comes through in their series where they look incredibly good and then things kind of fall apart from there. We've seen that in the past from Develop in particular, who's looked really good on Sojourn on like a single map, and then he plays it in the next one and can't quite land his rail shots, etc., etc. Is that going to be the case here for the Charge, or can they keep it consistent? Consistency is absolutely key.
And I still think there are weaknesses for the Charge moving forward as far as the map set goes, because it seems like Charge only want to play Krong, right? We still haven't seen Rio for a while. I don't necessarily mind that. That's a coaching choice to say, okay, we believe in Krong at the moment. He's probably our better starter on the tank position, but it does limit your options for tanks. So when we move forward to, let's say, the Escort map and is very dive heavy, Bellisria comes back and plays the Bull or the Winston. Krong goes back to the Doom, and his Doom looked reasonable. Doesn't blow my mind. Thankfully, I think Choi and Develop were phenomenal on their particular heroes on Lijiang Tower to carry us through, and Krong staying alive for the most part and just not dying and creating space is, I think, the forte that he's been able to show. So not a flashy play, not really opening up frags, but certainly making space for his DPS to get the work done. So moving into a slower style now, as I do think as we head to King's Row, it should be more of a Sigma v Sigma, maybe Zarya v Zarya kind of matchup here. It'll be more on the shoulders of Krong to carry now that I suspect that he'll be playing something he's a lot more comfortable on.
Yeah. See how that does fare is, for now, my game free might have frozen up a little bit. Hopefully that'll fix itself in a moment. Otherwise,
so
we need a pause.
I'm going to talk about the stat line real quick. And 3-match win streak against Guangzhou. The only time that Guangzhou beaten Fusion was back in, I believe it was 2019, right? And that was the first ever game they played against each other. So these two franchises have actually not had that many opportunities to play against each other. As I mentioned, 4 games, 4 matches all time. This is number 5. And Fusion lead that record 3-1 with the last 3 going Fusion's way. And they've always been 3-0s as well.
There we go.
Except for today, except for right now. So as we wait for the game to kind of get started, gates to open as well, the one sort of silver lining here for the Fusion, if you're a little upset that you look at their first map, watch like, okay, what's going on here? Maps actually don't really matter for Fusion. They just need to have more wins in terms of series than the Chengdu Hunters. Because they're so far behind in maps, Hunters will win on map differential regardless. So Fusion don't need a clean win, they just got to win.
That they do. Now they have their work cut out for them just a bit more. The gates have opened. Inching forward here with the Hanzo. It's a recon bolt through. Just making sure that he can spot MN3 right around the corner. Storm Arrow's now coming through. Won't quite be able to connect them though. Even with that recon advantage. For now, MN3 just farming up the rail off the barrier. He's looking to try to line up the shot. Can't quite nail it. That would have been Choi Se-won out of the fight. He does get antied, but no one's able to capitalize.
Whoa,
to be found. Krong, I mean, what? Krong just sat up top. He's just left clicking and he kills Fury, then follows up for Zest. That is the contest. Absolutely done and dusted here. Aim God not going to be able to escape. Develop does not miss that rail. One tick does get established here for the side of the Fusion, but now they have to reset and go again.
So Krong just squares up. He's like, Fury, you don't want this smoke. You're talking to the 2020 state champion here on the Sigma specifically. Damn, Krong. All right, that's what's going on. I mean, I said that Krong needed to maybe step up a little bit on his own particular performances, not just play support for his DPS. So he does just that. Opens up with 2 major frags. Fury still does a lot of damage, though. You'll notice that Fury actually still has equal ult charge despite dying. So Fusion as well, because they're playing Zest on the Genji, they need to be a little bit active here. They already have 1 tick charge, looking for the contest.
Second tick coming through for free. Now Develop is going to be gone. That's a massive opening here for the side of the Fusion. Do get slowed up a bit by that Bionade onto 2, but they answer back with one of their own. The contest is just not quite there. Finally starting to come through as they do drop down to the low ground. Krong just playing a ring around the Rosie. Wraps around the turret, manages to take down Fixa. Will end up dying though. That will be the cap coming through, so 4.5 minutes, still a respectable time. Bank is far away, will get cleaned up here on the back end. Fusion can now begin to push.
That's such a strange occurrence that, you know, Guangzhou Charge got off to a great start. Krong has multiple frags, Fusion have to reset, and then Fury just walks into point, caps 2 ticks. Uncontested Charge. Don't know what they're doing there. Completely uncontested. Zest then gets a frag. It's a 5v4. Charge end up contesting 4v5. Krong still gets a kill, eats a rock and dies. But everything prior to that, the fact they gave away 2 ticks is so weird.
Yeah. A bit odd, to say the least. Ults as well, not quite equal now. Unique not having that nano so far away from it, so advantage very much in the hands of Fusion. Choice A1 going to be taking a nap. You see Krong trying to play Protector. Will manage to get that elimination on a Fixa with the Flux, but quickly afterward, Choice A1 and Unique get traded all the same, so the Protector no more. Krong can't do anything else. Rail goes through. It's a slight little window there. Barrier projected at that kind of horizontal, or the diagonal angle rather.
Nice call.
It's not going to be good enough. The Flux will just go ahead and finish off Krong. Cleanups coming through, and Fusion are storming their way through King's Row.
Yeah, this could even be a cap because it depends on how quickly Krong can respawn and get back into action. Fury's Flux there was beautiful. I mean, some would consider it maybe overkill, but honestly, getting Krong down and forcing that stagger is everything because Charge now, as you can see, cannot contest because they are lacking the tank. If Krong survives, it's a different story. They absolutely can contest. They have the trance as well. At minimum, they force ultimate trades coming through for Fusion, and the staggers do not stop Achilles.
I mean, we have the exact same amount of time in the time bank, which means that it was a 1.5-minute push through the streets, widely uncontested. Cart not really getting stopped up or slowed down at all. Fusion just gliding their way into B now. Have so much time to work with for this final assault, and they didn't really have to expend too many ults for it. Just the overclock and that Flux, Fury of which is, you know, keeping pace and actually exceeding the ult charge of Krong once more. Blade going to be coming through. Zest diving into the back line. Finds the belt before the trance is there to try to save him. Unique going to be kept alive. Does manage to get the sleep dart here, but can they find the punch? They absolutely can. Far away, getting right up into his face, charges up the right click, finds that elimination. Supports, however, still heavily under fire, contained off the left side flank. MN3 sat above, looking for a target. Overclock going to be popped here by Develop, but contest doesn't have really anybody to try to target, and the contest is not there. And it is a 3-minute and 39 time bank King's Row.
Wow.
What
just
happened?
Well, it's like I said, dude, you know, Charge, they're fantastic at looking good on one map, and then beyond that, it just all goes south. I mean, I think the epitome of what I call a sprint team in a tortoise and hare race, where they sprint super quick for one map, and then they take a break and bow out of the entire thing. But it's a marathon, guys. As you know, we're playing through a full series here. You cannot be a one-map team, and I think Charge...
It's 5-map Friday!
Year, it is. It's 5-map Friday in APAC. We're supposed to be going the distance, Charge. So we're getting at least 4 out of the series. Let's be clear about it. We're getting at least 4.
Sure.
Or maybe, well, it depends. I mean, if a miracle happens, a Charge wins this and they go 3-0, then I guess we don't go 4. But, or a draw. Even the first fight, like the confusion begins at the first fight where they look great for an opening fight. They lose the point uncontested. B is a complete just wash of Fusion pushing. Charge can't do anything. They're consistently picked out. They never have 5. They can't use these ultimates because they don't want to use them while behind. Fantastic stagger kills from Fusion all the way even onto C, granting them lots of free payload push. I mean, usually when you lose B uncontested, your next goal should be to contest payload at the first corner of C almost immediately, but they couldn't do that because they lose choice A1 immediately, right? So Charge, the bleeding really does not stop. And then the nano blade kill through the trance. I don't know if it was before the trance or during the trance, but that can't happen either. And as far as the contesting goes, I think they were relying on Krong to get there, but he's a slow Sigma player that just can't get to the point in time.
Well, Fury occupying the same space that we saw Krong using. It's kind of your default Sigma positioning here. As Krong goes for the contest here onto the high ground. Tries to avoid the accretion, drop down. Seismic Slam gets just a little bit of damage, but Widely needs to run away. Grab the health pack. Waits it out. Will be able to grab that. I mean, ideally would want to exit to try to funnel some percentage over to Unique and far away, but just too risky for him to try to make his way out of there. Now, test does come through up here in the high ground hallway. Good dash through from Choice A1, finding some damage, forcing them back. Now finding some presence on the point is the charge, but just for a scant moment, they pull away.
Well, the best thing they've done in 1 minute so far is forcing a Mortality Field, which doesn't sound good, but is actually pretty reasonable. Can they convert that in the next 20 or so seconds though? So what I mean is they now need to engage some sort of big dive. You can see Alderworth Hotel has 3 charge members, but they don't commit to anything. So by the time they actually do make an engage, the lamp will be back online. They are struggling to take any high ground. They just want to contest the point itself. So at minimum, if they can force a Fusion member down to them and try and play that guy, that could be okay, but they're not getting a lot done.
Punch there for just a moment. The Mortality Field does come through, but MN3 was able to finish off Choice A1, so that's that backline threat now taken care of. Dealt with. Krong as well, stunned up by the accretion. MN3 able to find the finishing blow, and MN3 will get another one for his troubles. Gets to help as Choice A1, he just respawned, and now he gets headshot.
It's like 4, 5 kills almost here coming on through. MN3's positioning super far forward, supported by the shield from Fury. Charge are about to get snowballed, because Fury now have, not just Fury, but Fusion have now nearly 4 ultimates online, or at least 3 ultimates, plus the Bob coming in as well. Choice A1 consistently dying out of spawn. They want to play a Nano Blade, but Choice A1's on 55 because he's died twice and 3 times in a row, whatever now. Charge, they wanted to play a dive composition for opening A, and the pacing is truly not very good at all because they can't set up any sort of fights. They force 1 cooldown but can't convert that into anything meaningful. And they just kind of hang around this hotel as we see, but they can't actually take any space. They can't do anything.
I mean, let's be real. The pacing is non-existent right now from the side of the Guangzhou Chargers. They're just now starting to step onto the point for the second time. Nano will go through. Choice A1 trying to get the blade online.
Wait a minute.
A dash reset.
Wait a minute.
Suddenly comes up with 3 kills. He comes up with a 4th kill. What?
Ace?
Choice A1, he's looking for the 5th. Can he get it? Oh, no, he cannot. MN3 will end up dying to his own dynamite at the very end. He says, you cannot get the ace. I will finish myself off before I allow you to get the ace. But suddenly, in one big moment, Choice A1 goes from getting farmed 3 times in a row to killing just about every goddamn person on the team. And now the Guangzhou Charge has the cap at 3.5 minutes of the time bank.
That's the most Guangzhou Charge thing I've ever seen in my life, which is like, we're going to spend 3 minutes doing kind of nothing, and then magically, 1 nano, it's a dry nano as well, no blade for Choi, he just kind of goes in there, like you said, gets farmed for multiple lives, and then solos the entire Philadelphia Fusion. Okay!
I don't know what's going on. I need 11 to come rescue me. I'm stuck in the upside down. Vecna's got me. I'm in his grasp. Please save me. Things are wild. I can't understand it. Aim God finally developed. Tries to go off that left side flank, I do believe. Krong trying to get the punch across, but Fury will say no. Shuts him down. Trance coming through just for good measure, and Faraway is out in the middle of nowhere, so does end up getting picked off. Choice A1 completely tracked by the Discord Orb is easy pickings here for Aim God. The kills come through, and that's going to be the archway control established for Fusion.
All right, we're back to normal now. Okay, the timeline has been restored. We've given back the Infinity Stones to all the, previous owners. And the Guangzhou Charge, I mean, they have ults to play through. I want to see them get active here as they lose a fight. That's fine. We force ultimates out of Fusion. Now it's time to blow some ults there. I think they're waiting for Nano Blade. Okay, they just lose a member. That's a little awkward.
Okay, they do. And that means especially that Krong has to use that Meteor Strike to get out rather than try to aggress. Choice A1, however, still trying to aggress.
Oh, good catch.
Then everybody's focus firing him. Yeah, great catch coming through. Fury does manage to make that a 1-for-1, and now they continue to trade up. Faraway trying to duke it out, trying to break through this barrier, but MN3 will just swing the corner. The Dynamite will bleed him away. And once more, the fight is going to be won, but they have to wait for these run backs. Still 2 members all the way back at the spawn, so the Fusion cannot hold this far forward.
It's amazing flux coming through from Fury, and the exact, sort of catch as well to make sure he wasn't going to get duped by any dashes. That is going to be a pretty clean, ultimately, fight win coming through from Fusion to deny the Nano Blade, the one big tool the Charge do have. But like you sort of mentioned, because there were some trays, Fusion have to back out, give Guangzhou Charge the payload for the first time. We're also seeing Dragon Strike come online, which during these moments is actually super useful. So Dragon Strike for sure will be to make the space required to give Charge an opportunity to win a fight.
Krong trying to go around the flank, M3 watching that position. It's a tap there on a faraway. Choice A1 going to be dead as the Dragon Strike comes rolling through, and Zest will beam down, develop. Faraway dead to the bomb, knows that he cannot afford to pop the trans and tries to stay alive. The fight is long since over. M3 will clean up the lion's share of the Guangzhou charge. Once more, it is a team wipe here at the hands of the Fusion, and it's 45 seconds remaining to try to get the B.
This is kind of the story of the charge so far on both their later A, B, and C defenses, as well as most of the attack so far, which is like they want to set up for a play, they're ready to go for a fight, but just as they sort of go in, look to commit ultimate, somebody gets picked. So perpetually at a 4v5, and we saw that even with the Nano Blade timing as well. You know, they kind of wanted to go for it, but they lose a support player. And the Guangzhou charge got 5 again. Dragon Strike didn't go the way they planned. They're up against a lot of Fusion ultimates. Fusion should be able to hold off the back of that.
Have to just wait and see. Charge, do you have that clutch potential like we saw in that first round of Lijiang? Felt not taking too much damage there from Zest, who will be forced back for the moment, but the duplicate is there if he needs a bailout. In fact, he's just going to go ahead and pop it. Goes for the Doom Fist, but he gets punched out of the seismic slam. Cannot find that extra damage to try to set things up. Choice one going to be traded out. MN3 dead as well. Develop falling low. The Meteor Strike coming through. Zest
Double
drop
Meteor
down
Strike.
top of far away, and oh boy, he gets him. Pops out instantly. Headshots unique for the kill. The beam there to help finish off Develop, and Krong is taking a nap just far enough away from the cart to not contest. The Fusion will be able to win. A bit of a wobbly map here at times, but they manage to get the win. They tie it up 1-1.
But it's like exactly as I expected, right? Which is to say that I expected there should be one fantastic map out of the charge, but very hesitant to believe that they were going to be able to string that into future good performances. You know, they had that one insane 4K out of Choice of One. They had a good opening on the A defense with Krong popping off slightly, but beyond that, nothing to really show for it. Fusion, their pick potential was so much higher. It's like we're just watching the reverse rating. I think talking about the upside down almost seems adequate because we looked at the performance of Lijiang, then you look at the performance here on King's Row, and it's the complete opposite for both teams.
Yeah, okay, well, maybe things have course corrected a little bit. It seems like the Fusion certainly have with this win, looking very consistent on King's Row. Coming up next, we're going to have Dorado for Hybrid. See if the Guangzhou charge can once more find that spark, find that groove that we saw in map 1, or if the Fusion will be able to move up and during this to match point. Don't go anywhere, guys. The action's going to continue in just a few minutes. And we are back, and the series is now tied up 1-1. A wonderful King's Row map there from the side of the Fusion. Great performance to get the win. Some craziness at times, but widely they get the defense there in front of point B, and had a wonderful push to kick things off. Now we turn our sights over to Dorado for our escort map to see who is going to be moving forward to match point.
Fun fact for King's Row is that MN3 got as many final blows as the entirety of the Guangzhou Charge, which was 15, so there it is. Also, obviously, MN3 was the kill leader there for that particular map, so didn't have a great Lijiang Tower, came back in astounding ways on King's Row, including a frag on himself, remember, self-kill on the Dynamite. So,
True.
you know, keep the frags coming
It
up.
counts.
Even the self ones, I'm going to count them. But no, it's 15 minus the suicide there. But for the Guangzhou Charge, I mean, part of me isn't surprised, part of me is still a little bit disappointed because I wanted to see the Lijiang performance again coming through the next map. But yeah, they decide to get rid of the Sigma strategy for the attack as well, when I felt like, you know, that's one of Krong's best heroes. In fact, it is just his best hero, right?
It is his best hero.
And I think, like, you know, that should be something you can make work for the entire offense, the same way that Fusion with Fury on Sigma worked. But speaking of Fury, he'll be subbed out for Bellasria going to Dorado, and as I sort of mentioned, right, we do have maps that are very dive favored. This one being a prime example. We've seen what Smurf and Prophet on the Seoul Dynasty do on a map like this. Charge, I gotta be playing Krong the entire way through, so Krong's options now are limited. He can't really play too many dive heroes outside of just the Doomfist because the Diva is just not gonna work for you, so it's gotta be the Doom. And I think his Doom, again, has just been okay. Certainly not Krong Sigma level.
Yeah, certainly not. We'll see what they have pieced together. Maybe he's been practicing some of those other picks in the meantime.
Krong
And they're
Winston.
feeling confident about it.
Oh.
Oh, you know, ooh. Maybe it's all they needed. It's the secret weapon. Well, we'll just have to wait and see, though.
Krongston?
As we do hop into the map. Krongston checks in.
I don't think it's going to happen. I think if he was going to play it, he'd already have played it. And they opted for the Doom instead. So we'll see what happens. To be fair, Krong can play the Sigma on A. It's just about, like, you know, that hero kind of just scales poorly into the rest of the points on the map. So usually ends up being avoided. Guangzhou Charge, opening composition, Doomfist defense. Develop choice of quad. I actually think Sigma's good on the defense here because even when you defend B, you have the option of starting on high grounds. There's always that option for a Sigma defense, and then you can sort of transfer that onto a C. I think attacking Sigma's not good, but defending Sigma's okay. Choi, though, not Choi, Krong, though, definitely wants to stick towards the Doomfist instead as the dive option, as mentioned. So should be a pretty good matchup for the Fusion, even though you'll look at this and say, isn't this the same matchup on Lijiang? It is, but completely different map circumstances.
All right. Maybe just some minor scouting here off the start. Dynamite over the top finds Krong. Little Doomhead just sat there. He's going to go for
Develops
some
already won.
jump shots. Okay.
So AimGod got 16, 20% ult charge there. He nearly killed MN3 right off the rip. And that would have been the entire defense in shambles almost immediately. Krong playing very patiently, as we saw, just kind of keeping his head tucked in, looking for an opportunity to contest and dive. Seems like they're playing more defensively in terms of stopping Bellasria, so they want to catch this ball.
Trying to. Zest forcing Choice A1 back over to the Mega Pack. He'll be able to grab that. But now the Tracers
Payload.
widely close together. Payload going to be halted here as Choice A1 contests it just before it starts making its way through the underpass. Swing around Bellsry saying hello. Krong's giving him a quick little punch that's going to force him back, but now Krong under fire, raises his fists. Dynamite flies as well. Look to displace him, and they cannot, but they do find that kill moments ago to Choice A1. Zest can move forward. Looks to farm up the Pulse Bomb, which he will be getting online here in just a moment. Taking down Krong would be a nice target to find. Far away, though. Nice headshot, gets the elimination, takes out Fix-Up. Pulse Bomb not going to connect him in 3, however. If the alley-oop does manage to find Unique. Aim God finding one, but Far Away finds another. Or Aim God rather was dead, is what I meant to say. Far Away does end up falling, but the cart for now still going to be halted.
Far Away showing some heroics there as well, winning a very clutch 1 versus 1 against MN3. He gets killed himself, but the trade is worth it, right? You speak about Payload, it's barely been halted, to be honest with you. It's really when Philadelphia go for fights and they want all 5 to be present. Philly have been pretty much pushing Payload 90% of the time unimpeded. Charge have struggled to sort of find a position on the map to actually defend and try to contest. They are very interested in chasing down Bellisria's ball, trying to chase down Zest as well. And while that's kind of happening, Fusion keep pushing in.
Okay, Choice A1 taking down Zest with a great kill. That's right as the Pulse Bomb became available from Choice A1 as well. Bellisria going to be taking a nap for the time being. Transcendence used by Far Away. Keeping everybody alive. Overclock rolling. Develop goes aggressive. Receives an nano. The trans coming through. He needs to hit a headshot, and he just cannot. Otherwise, no way to get eliminations through all that Zen healing. MN3 coming up with a few. Gets a kind of fadeaway shot onto Unique at the very end. The cap will be there for the Fusion. Just shy of 4 minutes now in the time bank.
And this is kind of why you see a reasonable amount of Ashe gameplay coming out from both these teams, but from a lot of teams in APAC as well. I think they value the consistency that the Ashe brings. Some of the AO damage from the Dynamite as well. This is also traditionally a very good Ashe map. Dorado I'm talking about. But in terms of macro and pacing there, Fusion stayed very on top of the objective. They slowly pushed through. Archway would have been the ideal place for Qualifiers to set up some sort of defense. Never really happened. It would be 1-for-1 trade.
Kind of want to see that replay because Develop, that had to be a nasty shot. Close range flick over to get that headshot through, but let's get traded, and it's a trade up at the side of the Guangzhou Charge, finding 2 for the 1. So for now, things going to be slowed down as Choice A1. Dodging
even look
around
at the payload
front there.
Look how long it's gone uncontested for. The payload even being where it is currently, outside the courthouse, is, I mean, that's an incredible amount of distance just to get unimpeded, and Charge have really failed to kind of find areas to properly contest at all in this time map.
Develop on the high ground, finding him at 3. Dynamite down, looks for Aim God. Oh, pushes him out into the open. Beautifully played. Now he's looking for Fixa, and he gets him in the head. Wonderful chain of events there from Develop. Some nasty shots, and helps finish off Zest as well. And as you mentioned, yeah, Clark did get a good amount of free distance right up in front of... is it a courtroom or is it a church? I can't really tell. Either way, but it's going to be resting there because they cannot move it forward.
Maybe they double up in Dorado, you know? It's a bit of a 2-for-1. You can use both in there. I don't know.
On Sundays, you know, repurpose it.
Saturday Courthouse, Sunday Church. All right, but you do see that Develop now going over towards the Ashe, starting to pick up some steam. And that's something that Sojin can't do, right? Just sit on that high ground, scoped in, nailing these targets, headshots, just completely unimpeded damage coming from up high. Sojin has to kind of charge up these shots quite a lot.
He's doing it again.
Happens again.
Or he's trying to. Pushes them out into the open.
Dude.
Oh, gets Zest. In bank. Finds Fixa midair. Develop. What a chain of events once more for him. Utterly impeccable shooting.
Yeah, this is the sort of situation where he sees him in 3 on the Ashe. He's like, well, he's kind of performing well. Ashe is also one of my base heroes. MN3 is giving me permission to play the Ashe because, you know, we're going to make this honorable Ashe duel happen. None of us will play the Sojin today. And now the Charge, looking like they're back on top with, you know, a number of frags, enough frags to come through that no ultimates have to be expended. So, about 5 ultimates. That just knocked the bomb off. That was good.
Yeah, they finally get him. The Bob goes through. Bellisria comes crashing in. They finally manage to take down Develop. Buying a little bit of time and some space now for this cart to start advancing forward, but Far Away in the meantime. Off on the flank, you would assume. Zest was trying to get the pick up, but Far Away says no, shuts him down. Pushes down here from Bank. Cart going to be grabbed up once more here by the side of the Charge, so not advancing. Final corner still needing to be rounded. It's 45 seconds about to be in the time bank.
But they got distance, so now we're in the final courtyard, right? I mean, we're not even fighting around courthouse area in the sort of streets phase. Bob coming through now, and it's actually to defend the high ground. They're not actually using on the payload, which is moving again.
The Bob does get slapped. Krong taken down. MN3, the rare Ash Nano going through. And, Develop, I don't think he was aware that MN3 was right next to him because he did not pay any attention whatsoever to the shots that were flying right into his hip. One dropping down, looking at the contest. Nano goes forward onto him, takes a hell of a lot of damage, still holds onto the pulse bomb. Trance comes through, the anti is out. They find that elimination. Far away, now popping the Transcendence, trying to buy some time for the rest of the team to rejoin. Unique still playing within the courthouse, as you say. Does snipe MN3 as he tries to drop down to the low ground. Now move into overtime, but the tick comes through as they clear out the last two members. A minute and a half to try to finish the map. It's going to be a bit challenging, you would suspect it. Charge, though, they do continue to go on the offensive, go diving through, find Aim God.
Yeah.
Buys them a bit of time.
And, these frags are even, right? I mean, stat-wise, that's true as well. Both teams are even on 17 final blows and 17 final blows per side. But objectives, Fusion have under control, and Charge have realistically never had under control. They keep dragging fights away from payload. They keep allowing Fusion to get free payload distance. So every single fight, whether Fusion win or lose, they're inching payload distance late, which is why we saw in the final fight, when the Fusion finally got enough frags to just go for a good push, the payload was actually already the end. They Nano Choi, who doesn't have a recall, he can't do too much, has to just manage his blinks, and now we're already on C. The time isn't great remaining for the Fusion, but they continue pushing forward.
Yeah, the amount of distance they've been able to grab right here off this initial volley. It's looking fantastic. Choice they want looking for the stick, not going to be able to find anything. It's going to be a 1-for-1 at the front line, goes down for the side of the Charge, and they lose Zest on the Fusion. Bob sat here, now going to be woken up, and MN3 sends Unique right into his welcoming arms. The kill comes through, but Choice A1 does manage to pursue deep enough to get the elimination here onto the enemy Ash. Belisria kind of whiffing on his swings a bit, needs some TLC. She will be able to receive, but now down to 8 seconds. He's trying to get the health pack. Manages to snatch it away. Stays alive, but somebody's got to get over to the cart here in the next few seconds. Can they make the touch happen? They cannot. Belisria being rerouted far too many times. No one could get there.
You saw him trying to get some sort of height to go for a slam onto Develop, but he kind of either failed the grapple or failed the tech and just couldn't find the right amount of height. Failed to get the slam down, ends up exiting, goes for a health pack, and thankfully he does manage to grab the Mega because Choi Se-hwan, despite being, he was guarding the health pack, he didn't have the health, he didn't lose any health, so he couldn't just steal the health pack, which means, well, Belisria rolls through and grabs it. Fusion, I think despite not finishing the map here, for how even the game is, usually when games are this even, we're not expecting massive amounts of distance here because if the defense are winning 50% of the fights, that's actually major in the back end of the that's for the benefit of the defense here. It's just the fact that Fusion, even while losing, can't quite... Sorry, even while losing, I still managed to get distance, and Charge can't quite contest any of that distance. And B, I think, was especially egregious. A as well wasn't particularly pretty to look at. And B was only as good as it was because Develop switched over towards the Ash and started to get major frags. But as you'll have noticed, I said, despite Develop getting those frags, Payload still inched forward.
Well, a win condition set up here for the side of the Charge. If they can have a strong push, Develop looking to start at least with the Widowmaker. We'll see if he sticks with it. Or decides to flip back to the Ash, which was looking impeccable for him on that B defense.
I think you can make a reasonable amount of distance on the Widow as well. I mean, if you actually just want to stay on the Widow, he decides to. Thought about swapping off. Tries to fool the Fusion, just thinking that he'll swap off as well. Goes for one extra shot, and now should be the Ash coming on through. As this worked out beautifully for him. Far away, going to be the first target, though.
Belisria following shortly thereafter. Obviously can rejoin rather rapidly, and there's a good amount of distance that the Fusion can afford to give up. As long as you can recontest by the time it gets into the underpass, you're not going to be too worse for wear. Which they ought to be able to do.
Is around the corner as well, so thankfully Zenyatta doesn't have to go too far. If that was a defensive Zenyatta, this would be disastrous.
Oh, yeah.
In terms of dying, that is. Halo now moving into the archway itself, still looking for ultimates, not quite found. Both the Traces will probably get them first, and you see that Zest is spending a lot of time just keeping Choice 1 under control to make sure that Charge aren't sneaking any inches.
Wrong, under so much fire, continues to fall lower and lower, but they haven't been able to get that elimination, and Choice A1 takes down MN3. costly. Develop with another great headshot. It's the DPS. Shut down on the side of the Fusion. Supports in the tank now trying to hold the cart, but as Fixa pushes forward, he will end up dying. Aim God is now gone. And that should be the cap coming through here for the side of the charge. Far away going low, but manages to survive. Concerted effort on the side of the charge, comes up with the kill, and the push is coming through, and this is going to be a fantastic time bank for them.
Yeah, Ballasry is too far away to contest, right? So we're not really going to see much from the Fusion side of things. If Ballasry was alive or M3 is a Bob, they would contest. Instead, Fusion will now set up for high ground on B. As the first round of ultimates from both teams will now start to come through on this B attack and defense. So for the charge, really well done that they managed to cap A with a decent time and also B without having to really expend resources, as you want to be using ultimates on the future points and not A if you can.
Pulls from Zest, not finding any value. It's going to be whiffed out there. Juan still holding on to one of his own, but Develop opens things up once more. Aim got taken out, looks for the high ground contest. The Bob goes charging in. They try to whip shot him off, but will manage to land here all the same. Picks up, trying to drop down, raises the shield at the perfect moment to avoid getting headshot, but oh man! Develop with yet another fantastic reaction.
Dude, this is like a renaissance for Develop. I mean, throughout the entire season, he's looked okay, had some reasonable moments, had some good Widowmaker moments for sure. Sojin's been sort of 50-50, right? But this Ashe today is unreal. He has full high ground control now. The Bob being on the high ground as well, so massive. I mean, he could easily get another pick here. Deletes the mines.
Try to greet Bellisria on the drop down, but he falls into the mine. Far away as well, eliminated Bellisria. Doing some solid work here. The sleep comes through, but Unique is left out to dry. Quick kill for MN3, and the cleanup is there. An extended team kill for the side of the Fusion, who are finally finding some stability, but there's still 3 minutes and 20 seconds in the time bank. The card is getting ready to round the final corner. They have their work cut out for them. Charge with 4 ults.
The problem is Charge lost all the ground rights. They're going to have to spend ultimates just to take the high ground back. Attacking team controlling that specific high ground going to the final courtyard is unbelievably strong. So Bellisria winning that fight for the Fusion is going to allow the Fusion to bounce back now, especially as Fusion also come up to their own ultimates. Develop would have to hit some nasty shots to get some picks to enable this again. That or, you know, between Choi and Krong, they need to get up there.
Well, there's one of the 4 gone. Pulse bomb from Choi Se-Wan, just making him scatter a little bit, but doesn't find the elimination. Krong jumping away. Pulse bomb was out onto him, manages to escape with the Meteor Strike. Nullifying that damage and ult. Reaction from him, keeps himself alive, and despite his Bellisria just continues to contest. Jump forward, seismic slam, only connecting on the Fixa, not going to be offering up too much green HP, and now, yeah, the trance does come through from far away, just to try to keep Krong in the fight. Continues to get hammered down, though, lower and lower, as Zest pursues forward. The Bob is there to zone them back. Choi Se-Wan now going to be picked off. MN3 finding the elimination. Wraparound goes through from the bank, but Develop was left all by his lonesome, disconnected from the rest of the team. He ends up getting burnt.
And here's my problem with the Guangzhou Charge attack so far is, you know, when they don't have that high ground control, and we'll see what happens inside this bank area as well, is a lot of Charge members here, but I think both teams will handshake it, and Fusion will allow the Charge to back out and reset. But what I was going to say is, beyond Develop just getting a number of frags from low ground and high ground, Charge struggle to do anything to contest this high ground because they don't have a ball to just drop down mines. Krong has to play with a lot of trepidation because he knows he can just get blown up, and there's still 2 support ultimates online for the Fusion.
Risky recall there from Zest, puts himself right back in front of the spawn. You can see Charge not going to concern themselves too much with it. Develop going to be on the hunt, going to be on the watch, going to make sure that that backline flank doesn't come to fruition, but the front line is the issue. Krong dives in, and Bellisria finds the kill. Pile drives Develop into oblivion. Far away under fire as MN3 gets a nice little headshot there. Follow-up shot off the reload onto Unique. He's just putting one shot on the gun, firing, and just continuing it, and it's working.
It's going to be 5 ultimates. This is why I wasn't that concerned for Fusion when, you know, Charge had like 4 ultimates and they lost the fight and came back, because I knew that area control for this point is absolutely everything, and Charge have really floundered in taking that. What almost needs to happen here is you either got to nano Krong to allow him to be able to take that high ground, or just send Krong to his death, accept that he'll die, but nano Choi and allow him to get all the kills instead. Develop almost has to put another Bob on the high ground now to do anything.
Well, another minefield once more going to be invested, and once more Bellisria finds 2 kills. The support's taken down. Krong dead. 30 seconds left. This is the final fight here for the side of the Guangzhou Charge. They need to win this out, maybe even a follow-up.
Develop's dead.
Staggers are devastating. Choi Se-Wan needs to escape. You can see MN3 just waiting to see if this Genji is going to continue advancing forward.
He's gone. Yeah, this is going to have to be a nano blade or a nano attempt of some kind. Palo's now sliding backwards as well. Develop's gone over towards the Widowmaker. I actually think that's reasonably smart. That will do a better job of contesting than the Ashe so far. Bob's already been expended. No idea where Develop's Bob went, but couldn't have been anywhere useful. Charge now. It was looking good until Bellastria got the double mine kills, and now it's looking like Fusion will hold.
Okay. So they do manage to force out the OT. Bellastria once more causing havoc in the back line. The rally now rolling from Fixa. Blade going to be pulled. Choice A1 already getting tagged low. Has to cheat around the corner. Dives in. He's looking for the elimination, but Fixa gets on top of him. They find the kill. Everything, all their eggs in the one basket. The basket has fallen to the ground. The eggs are shattered. The Guangzhou charge will be zoned off the cart long enough for the OT to bleed away. And the Philly Fusion, while they didn't finish the map, they will be able to complete the defense here in front of point B. And now they move up 2-1 in the series. Match point is theirs.
It's the kind of situation for the charge where I feel like multiple points now, maybe not in Lijiang, which is why it was such an outlier, but, you know, charge requires such grandiose individual pop-ups to make their plays happen, that when those things don't happen, they don't seem to be able to get a grasp of how to turn the map into their favor, how to turn the game into their favor. And you see these just kind of, I don't know, pedestrian attempts to like, well, Krong, just jump up there and see what happens. He does, gets instantly melted, and that's kind of just what happens because this team can't really set up dives. Unless the Guangzhou Charge have somebody like Choi Se-hwan or Develop go absolute sicko mode, which they have been at various points, this team isn't able to get a lot done. So it went well until it didn't. They had full high ground control in the attack, which is brilliant. Bellastria gets 2 mine kills, and the entire map is over from there.
Yeah. Well, fantastic here from the side of the Philly Fusion. Looking stronger, looking like they just needed a wake-up call after Lijiang Tower, and the alarms certainly sounded. Then we'll move forward into what could be the final map of the set. It's New Queen Street to see if the Guangzhou Charge can extend this to 5 maps. It's 5 Map Friday after all, so I'm all for it. We'll see what happens though when we come back. Match point locked in here for the Fusion after their win on Dorado. Now New Queen Street is all that is standing between them and a win. A much needed win if they want to make it into the Mid-Season Madness tournament. Well, Guangzhou Charge showing some signs of life there on Dorado, which were widely absent on King's Row. Great shots coming from Develop in particular, but now they need to buckle down, win New Queen Street, and extend this into a 5th map.
Yeah, Charge feel like the kind of team that is almost there, right? The talent seems to be able to pull some weight, but overall, you know, few too many mistakes allow the game to slip away from them in various ways. So slightly better defense, slightly better offense, and I think it becomes a much more even Dorado game. The fact that it looks as even as it is via final blows and frags says a lot about the quality of what some of the players can individually do, but as a team it's not quite gelling as well as the Fusion have been able to do. So we saw after Legion Tower, a bit of a pep talk from the coaches, seems to have done the work there, as 2 maps in a row now Fusion have looked to be mostly outclassing the Charge. I mean, individually, like I said, some members of the Charge is definitely, you know, keeping up, if not overtaking, but for the Fusion, as a cohesive whole unit, they're definitely playing much cleaner Overwatch than the Guangzhou Charge, especially when it comes to their priority on objectives and their understanding of how to play for space and take control of space on the map.
Let's see what happens. Ash likely here for Develop and MN3 once more. If they don't go for Sojin, but you know.
I don't think
we'll see what happens.
I don't think New Queen Street is good for Ash at all. I think both players will go towards Sojin here. It's a very fast map.
We've seen a decent amount of it, have we not? Am I crazy?
Well,
maybe I'm crazy.
We've seen some, but I still just don't think it's a good hero for this map. I think it's too slow. The players might still go to it as a comfort pick. I think for Develop, right, you might be thinking, maybe I should just play the Ashe anyway, even though Sojin is on paper a better pick here. I've been performing better on the Ashe today, so he's going to go for it. MN3 is going to make that decision, but I think the choice for Philadelphia Fusion is they will play the Sojin anyway. And something that we haven't really talked about is the fact that this is Zest's 2nd time on the Sojin today. So this one hero has been kind of hot potatoed by 3 different DPS players now. We saw in the opening week, Carpe playing a lot of the Sojin, and then MN3 mostly taking the mantle. Zest today played a decent amount as well. But as we head into game proper now, the actual game of the New Queen Street, we have 1 Sojin out on the field, 2 Traces. MN3 is going to be the one staying on the Ashe.
See how Develop looks. He said he's certainly had his moments with the Sojourn, his time in the limelight. Can this map be another one of those occurrences? Or does he end up just wanting to, you know, match at the end of it all? We'll have to just wait and see. For now, Fusion sitting quite far back. Bot going to be unlocked. Bellisria. That means that it's time to go. He was rolling forward. Develop instantly taken down. Great headshot there from MN3. Finds the opening kill, but Bellisria does get traded in the end. Punish. Sprong now falling lower and lower. Orb of Harmony and Discord both sat on top of the Doom Fist, but he will be able to survive. A little bit of distance now there for the side of the Guangzhou Charge as we wait for the initial skirmish to end and see who will be taking the lead.
You need to have Guangzhou Charge put a lot more pressure onto MN3, right, to make the Sojin versus Ashe difference sort of profound. You need to have your divers actually get on top of this Ashe and punish her for the sort of lack of mobility compared to the Sojin. There is some mobility, obviously, with the Coach Gun, but you really value the power side coming through for Sojin here. Initial pick onto Bellisria from the Charge will get them some distance, but it's instantly traded back with Krong dying.
Yeah, a good call there. You can tell Fusion just making the call like, no, we can go through this. Go ahead, make it an elimination, dive into the back once more. Bellisria
as well.
This time finding Develop, and yeah, the staggers will be there as the supports have nowhere to go. So now some distance can be accrued here for the side of the Fusion, who will be taking the lead rather quickly as the Charge were only able to establish just over 12 meters.
Yeah, it's a full team wipe there coming through, so Charge now, team wipe plus staggered deaths, full reset. Bellisria even going on a bit of a hunting mission as well. Some early scouting. You can see that for the Fusion, they're just kind of allowing Zest to solo push the payload here. Reminder that on push, pushing speed is maxed out at 1 place. You don't need more than 1 person pushing. Bob comes through, by the way.
The pulse bomb was there, but unnecessary in the end. Zest with the pulse pistol just able to finish off Unique before the explosion can even go off. Gets far away to boot, so both supports and the front line now broken down. It's just Develop a choice they want left as he will just go off the side of the map. No
stolen
recourse there. And yeah, it was taken away, which is kind of comical given the Fusion were the ones who kind of, you know, started the great escape, you know, stealing the block away. But
other teams are employing that strategy against Fusion now, and it works. I wonder, because Fusion, despite winning the fight, get no distance in charge of regroup now. So all it takes is someone to whisk away the robot, and suddenly we've reset. No cap. Had the payload not have been stolen away, I guarantee Fusion would have capped anyway. And it is going to be a contest.
They've got finding one, but from beyond the grave, Choice A1 will get that elimination. Trance now rolling far away, just trying to keep Krong alive as he takes his nap. That was also the Nano expended and shut down by Fixa with that single sleep dart. Bot now has advanced forward, enough space was bought, the cap is there. Fusion will just go ahead, move away. They say, yep, our job here is done. The bot's got to take his break. We wait this out, and then we go again.
I mean, that's really upsetting for the Charge, because they could have easily prevented that. They have players alive, Krong was there as well. And the fact that the cap comes through is now, you know, the next time Fusion come up, they don't have to sort of wait for this payload to take their break on the actual cap itself. And Guangzhou Charge steadily lose members as they move the, you know, they push the robot off the cap itself, but it doesn't take long for Fusion to win a fight and instantly get the robot back into position to now threaten beyond 60 into the 70-meter-ish range.
I mean, Krong survived. Belster is the last one to die, but it's the Fusion who once more are the ones that just continue to push forward. They gain a little bit of extra distance. They maintain the forward spawns. Continuing to inch this up. Guangzhou Charge just struggling to find an opportunity to really occupy this bot. Zest dives in the back line with the help of the anti there from Fixa, finds the elimination onto Develop. The cleanup continues to come through as Choice A1 down to a sliver of HP. Should just be a matter of time, and there you go. Belseria chases forward, crashes into him, finds that elimination, just completely flattening him.
It's a very one-sided game so far. You know, even stats would kind of you know, say that as well. We have quadruple the amount of final blows from Fusion, 4 to 17, right? So Charge are getting 25% of the kills that Fusion have had so far. The one good thing they've done is steal the payload away, but that's kind of just preventing you from making you lose a little bit slower. You see Charge step it up and use that railgun. Certainly with the overclock, this fight would be nice.
Belseria slept, but they cannot get the punish, so he's right back into the fight here in a moment. Develop, just trying to cheat around the corner, but he just can't do it. Shots come flying his way from Mega Man 3, from Aim God. Now pops the trance and just escorts them forward as they are just absolutely enveloping the Guangzhou Charge. Choice A1, cool. You got to kill with the pulse bomb, or with the pulse bomb. Neat. Zest just shuts them down. The bot is pushing it, and we could be looking at a completion here, Avril.
Yeah, we could be. I don't think Fusion don't even need to. If they want to, they could potentially go for it. This will be pretty limited though, because Aim God, you can see on the map, he's coming from really far away. M3 still in this one though. He's been nanoed in fact, just popping heads.
Krong trying to stay alive. Nano goes out to him to keep him in the fight. Belseria will finally be punished, as is Zest. So now finally in control with a decent amount of space that they can occupy. Charge will start moving this bot forward. Looks like Fixa will be able to get out. No one able to pursue deep enough or quickly enough to really get on top of that Ana.
I tell you right now, okay, MN3 still popping off, but it's a combination of both MN3 and Zest. This is a far cry from what we saw on Lijiang Tower, where it felt like both MN3 and Zest were kind of barely there. Zest in particular has been dominant on this map, shutting down Develop in particular. For the fans wondering, like, well, shouldn't have Develop just played Ash from the beginning? I don't think it would have made a difference. Zest would have farmed him either way.
Belseria just looking to keep the bot on this side of the map as much as possible. Did drop in the minefield. Doesn't find too much, but I mean, Zest just continues to exist in front of their spawn. It's like, this is fine. I'll just continue to poke and prod from behind. You guys have an immense amount of distance to try to make up. It's 100 meters for them to tie it.
In comparison, Choice A1, who usually does have a pretty good trace, has been looking pretty invisible. I mean, so is the rest of the Guangzhou Charge. I don't really want to single any particular member out from the Charge. It's kind of a combination of all of them at this stage. A mountain to climb, as 112 is just, it's more than a win condition for Fusion. It's all but said and done now. 3 minutes and a half of kind of watching Charge stay, trying to keep their heads above water for the most part, see what they can do. Some ultimates are coming online, so can they get a fight going, especially with Valkyrie alone?
Okay, good opening kill, Develop. Finding his footing a little bit more here as MN3 will go down. Exit from Zest with a recall. Wraps back around this flank. Choice A1. Pulse bombs have been finding value, but it's been in the back of the fight, so they haven't really been able to play off of it. If you can find an opening kill here with it, this time around, could be massive here for the side of the Charge. Zest, however,
there it is, like I said.
So, try to set the stage. As soon as I do, the Rook gets pulled out from beneath. Pulse bomb in. Zest not going to be able to get a kill there. Still is just keeping the supports contained there on the high ground. Krong playing up into the front, gets the Nano, manages to find a single kill, looks for a little bit more, MN3 under some fire. One more right click would finish him, but Choice A1 is there for the alley-oop. It's the elimination at the end of the day. Bot, however, has been stolen out from under them. They were chasing so far forward that the rest of the Fusion say, oh, we'll just take this. You don't need this.
And that hurts Charge more than you know, because they're already so far behind the Charge that is. The fact that Krong has to be the one to go back even just hurts. Zest is still here being a menace. Zest has been absolutely pounding on this map so far in a 1v1 against Develop, and I'm pretty sure Zest will just win. There it is. So as I mentioned, right, it really doesn't matter whether Develop plays the Ashe or the Sojourn. Zest has got his number no matter what.
I mean, they popped the trance just to get over to Krong, but now the ante comes out. The trance is there from the side of Aim God to keep himself alive. Krong actually does manage to stick to the fight, finds Fixa. Now far away's dead. 1-for-1 on that front, the dynamite through. Krong pops the bubble, tries to keep himself safe, but MN3 will just dome the back of the skull. Great little shot from him as he continues to look for a little bit more. Can't quite get Choice A1, but with a minute and 37 seconds remaining, Fusion are once more shipping this bot back over towards Guangzhou's spawn.
And you'll notice a lot of Fusion don't have to go for the cap, right? They just keep shoving the payload back into the Guangzhou territory, then playing defense, and they can play defense for the rest of the game. In fact, they have been playing defense for about 5 minutes now in a row. Charge have to continuously push up like a human wave, crashing against the tides, crashing against the beach of the Fusion, rather, holding onto all their alternates. And Fusion's ability with their dive, the combination between Zest and Balistria, this Tracer ball combo, is so deadly compared to what Guangzhou can do, which is very little in terms of Choice One just trying to go in by himself. No real dive combination coming through.
Oh, 2 HP, MN3 just hugging against the side of that bus, stays alive. The stick comes through. Develop taken down, some damage out on the Krong as well.
No chance.
Bob will finish Bob, as it's about the one victory that the Charge can get for themselves here. Here comes Balistria once more into the back line, far away, chipped away at. The pile driver finds the elimination. Unique trying to stay alive. Oh,
that's just sad.
I mean,
wow.
It's just, he fully stops firing, gives him a wave. Was doing, you know, thigh work earlier on.
He knows he's got him. He knows he's better. You know, he's playing with his food there. And, I mean, even this, the fact that, by the way, Fusion are managing to get even more distance despite not even having to go for it, this is a risk they don't need to take, but they're taking it anyway because they know they're probably just going to win regardless.
MN3 burning down from the dynamite. Nade goes through, bumps up that healing onto him because they want recalling out. Into overtime we go. 119 meters set up here for the side of the Fusion. It looks like they will go ahead, take a step away. They say, yeah, we don't need to fight for the finish. Let's just reset, gather up, get ready to strike, take them off the bot, put an end to this series. Zest here on the flank. Krong spotting him.
Spotted.
It's a right click over his way. Zest just waiting this out. He's ticking up naturally. Pulse bomb now at the ready. Dashes around the back, throws it in, lands on the vending machine, doesn't find an elimination. However, the HP bars on the side of the Charge are not looking good. Krong continuing to be under fire. Now will go down, and that is all they needed. Far away. Just a split second too late to arrive to contest. OT bleeds out, and Fusion will be able to take the series 3-1.
And don't be concerned about the fact that the touch wasn't there. Wouldn't have made a difference. Charge had that one lost. Fusion still had a Transcendence ready to go. Far away, forced to pop early. Aim God would have popped later. Fusion win it through sheer heal difference there. MN3 hits the Bob, it's over. So, yeah, no shot for Charge there, whether they touch or not. Really, Charge could have just, just, you know, held their hands to their faces and cried and spawned. Exact same result there. This is part of the, I don't know, part of my criticism of Push is that, you know, once you have Fusion pushing to 110 meters, the rest of the game is basically decided. It is what it is. Charge, very distinctly, as I mentioned right away at the start, before the first map, during the first map, after the first map, they're a one-map team. They shine, they look amazing for one map, the rest of the series becomes a wash.
And I think that, you know, hands on head, just crying into it, I think it would have been just as effective because clearly Fusion were not showing any mercy. So I don't think the tears that would have been shed would have drawn out any sympathy whatsoever from the Fusion members. They would have just continued to wave in their faces and do some squats on their corpses at the very end. But yeah, our player of the match, let's go ahead and ship straight into that one because while things were a little bit rough for both of the DPS duos on the side, duo on the side of the Fusion, they both found their footing, but MN3 especially did. Incredible performance from him the whole way throughout. You know, Lijiang Tower notwithstanding, but him with the Ashe, even when Develop was popping off, he was able to kind of go toe-to-toe with him.
If I could give a player of the match to a player on just one map only, it'd probably be Zest on Queen Street. But when we talk about a performance over the course of the entire series, it has to be MN3 for me as well. I think it ended up being 40-something final blows. There was over 40 final blows across 4 maps combined for MN3, who mostly just played the Ashe the entire way through. There are a few moments there where Develop also looked very good in the Ashe, but MN3 was just so much better supported by his team, especially on, I think, the new Queen Street map as well, where, you know, I say that Zest was absolutely pounding on New Queen Street. MN3 was only 3 final blows behind Zest, 10 to 13 respectively. And actually, you know, as far as damage goes, definitely out-damaging Zest, but you can imagine that an Ashe with the Dynamite, with full range control, not getting dived at all, is going to have that kind of performance. So, yeah, 43 final blows over 4 maps, so, I mean, very consistent performance throughout the entire day, and I think, you know, Lijiang Tower was a bit of an anomaly for both MN3 and Zest faltering, but the rest of the maps was MN3 and Zest kind of coming back online as you would expect.
Yeah. I think Bellisria as well, having a bit of a rough start, not really being able to pilot around, you know, Krong's Doom too well, was getting punished pretty regularly on that initial map of Lijiang Tower. Came back in and then immediately started to pop after the victory on King's Row. So it was a much better, more refreshed look for him. But there you go. That's the series done. Fusion now move forward. They get that win locked in and, you know, one step closer to being a part of the Midseason Madness tournament, but the road is not over yet. And the series, while it might be done, we're not done talking about it. We're going to have our little game break coming up in just a few, so Avril and I will return in a couple minutes. Don't go anywhere.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Upper Deck, the official trading card of the Overwatch League. And by TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League.
All right, we're back, and it's time for our game break to chat a little bit more about that first series, as well as the upcoming one between the Chengdu Hunters and the Shanghai Dragons. If you missed it, Well, you didn't miss too much, I don't think, honestly. Fusion, not quite getting the 3-0 that they were looking for, the record that they had the last time they faced off against the Guangzhou Charge. Guangzhou looked incredibly great out the gate. They started clutching things in that first map of Night Market, but it just kind of slipped through their fingers, and it seemed like keyboards maybe got disconnected, mice weren't working properly by the time we got to King's Row.
I think it's more like there's a lot of team cohesion issues that I'm kind of noticing here in terms of decision-making on every map outside of Lijiang. I thought their decision-making and play on Lijiang was pretty tight. The Fire Gambit was actually pretty nice as well because it's quite rare. Most teams don't run it. You're not expecting any team to run it. You kind of forget that Choi even has a Fire in there, so he pulls it out. Fusion haven't seen this. They don't know how to deal with it at the time, and then they start to figure it out, but then Choi just moves towards Echo anyway, and Charger in the lead by far at that stage. So the best example of Charge macro was on Lijiang Gardens, but everywhere else it was faltering, and we saw across King's Row as well, multiple points where they wanted to start a fight but couldn't start a fight because they were always one member behind. The pick potential from the Philadelphia Fusion was just that much higher. Go to Dorado. Okay, Develop's playing something he's more comfortable on, like the Ashe. Especially on defense, the high ground control was immense. Charge had a little bit of high ground control coming into be on their attack as well, which is good, and that's usually difficult to get off the back of Develop getting frags. But once that was gone, you could see they just had no idea how to play for control of any space properly anymore. They had ultimates, but weren't too sure how to apply some of that. No real setups for dives. Felt bad for Krong, honestly, because it was just rough watching him leap up and instantly get fragged. Some people might say, oh, Krong's not very good at Doomfist, but you have to understand that Doomfist just struggles in that situation no matter what anyway. Most teams would rather play Winston here for a big reason, because you jump up, pop down a bubble, you can take nanos and do a lot with it. Primal will keep you alive. Doom just kind of goes and dies. Power Block is not a very good ability at all. But Krong doesn't play the Winston. He doesn't play the what I would consider the good dive heroes like Ball and Winston this meta, and this is kind of what happens when you play Krong on a dive map, and you're a team that doesn't play Rio anymore, is you have to settle for the Doom, which is, Krong is already not the best Doom. I think he's an average Doom, but on top of that, Doom itself as a character gives him no favors.
Yeah, well, that's one more step towards that mid-season madness tournament here with the side of the Fusion, but like we said, the road is not over for them yet. Chengdu Hunters still can absolutely play spoiler, and the Shanghai Dragons, the other team in this series, can absolutely still move up, so everything's still to play for in this next series, Avril.
Yeah, certainly. I think, Hunters, they have to win this next game. Otherwise, they're out of mid-season madness contention. Shanghai Dragons, though, on the other end, if they can start winning some games versus the last two teams, they can actually sneak up and move ahead of the Spark to get that second seed. So that second seed for mid-season out of APAC is still open between Spark and Dragons. Either team could actually get it at this stage.
All right, well, we'll see who's going to be able to win this one. I'm going to ask my wife. She's off camera. Who do you think is going to win this, Shanghai or Chengdu? Give me a name. Okay, she says Shanghai. She says Shanghai's going to win this series. We'll have to just wait and see, but Chengdu Hunters, they need to get the win if they're going to be able to stay alive for the tournament. I won't embarrass you anymore. I love you. And, yeah, we're going to go to another quick little break, guys. When we come back, we'll have that series for you, so don't go anywhere. And we are back. It's time for our second and final series of the evening. This time we've got the Chengdu Hunters going up against the Shanghai Dragons. Chengdu, a must-win series for them if they want to make it into the mid-season madness. As you said, Avril, any scoreline doesn't matter, just need the W.
They need 2 Ws, actually, because Charge
Sure.
lose to the Fusion. Fusion are already 1 point ahead of Chengdu. Chengdu desperately need 2 wins now to at least tie things up, and even then, if they do win 2 games here, this would include the Shanghai game. If Fusion beats Seoul in any regard, then they just make it through regardless. So, Hunters, first step, beating Shanghai. Scoreline doesn't matter. They just have to win. Starting lineup, as you'd expect, the only substitution they could make is Daisy, who's not going to be coming in for map number 1. Not when Ball is good, not when Gaga's on the ball. But this is going to be an exciting matchup because I think last year, Hunters and Shanghai produced some of the most amazing dive games, especially on the ball. Fate and Gaga, the 2 best ball players, I think, in the world. And Chengdu, while this year has been a bit of a struggle, they've started to really catch up and come into full form in the mid-season madness. So things are looking on the up and up for the Chengdu Hunters. However, on the other side, though, Achilles, speaking of teams on the up and up, Shanghai looked pretty atrocious in week 1, but since then in week 2, they have been unfairly good, like unreasonably good.
Yeah. I mean, Flutter's back to being the meta. Lip is just utterly dominating. Fate is back in the starting lineup as well, and they've just looked completely impeccable as of late. So the Dragons, this is a very terrifying and scary opponent for the Chengdu Hunters to have to go up against when their tournament lives are on the line. But if they can get this win, then that is a massive boon for them moving forward. Granted, of course, it's not fully in their hands. Like you said, if the Fusion can get revenge on the Dynasty, then they should be feeling a little bit better there. But we'll have to just wait and see. For now, they have to get this W.
And looking at the Shanghai side of things to speak to what their capabilities are in the mid-season madness, they are 6 maps behind the Hangzhou Spark, but they have equal amount of points. So very similar to the Hunters-Philly sort of situation previously in terms of points and maps. Hunters, well rather Shanghai, just need to win their games and make sure that Hangzhou at least lose 1 game somewhere. Now, one thing that's interesting is that Chengdu do actually play Hangzhou this week. So there is a chance where Chengdu just end up helping out Shanghai big time by losing to Shanghai and then beating Hangzhou, and then Shanghai's like, thank you so much for helping us get to 2nd place.
Could be firm handshakes between the 2 teams at the end of that one, with Chengdu probably shedding some tears at the same time, but you never know what can happen. I mean, we've seen some wild things in the past. We've seen it this year. Maybe that same circumstance can occur right here, and they can give Shanghai Dragons that little 1-up to get over top of Hangzhou. We'll have to just wait and see. I mean, I'm thinking back to last season with, Valiant taking that 1 map, and then that denied Fusion access to a tournament, and yada, yada, yada.
That
so
would,
sometimes when you get down to the nitty-gritty, you can get some wild results.
That would be sad Hangzhou noises for sure, if that ends up happening, because you still have Shanghai have got what left? They have this game. Shanghai still then have struggling Guangzhou Charge as well. So look, if they beat them, I'll be honest with you. Unfortunately, Guangzhou Charge, maybe they'll get that 1 map versus Shanghai. They'll get that 1 map. But Shanghai are looking far too good as a team based on what we saw last week. I see no reason that they wouldn't be as good as they were last week. It would be really disappointing for Dragons to not play as well as that, but I think once Dragons find their form, they keep that going forward. And we saw the same thing at the kickoff clash, right? 0-3 start versus Fusion. Took a while for the Dragons to warm up. Lip then gets into God mode on the Soldier. Things start looking great for the Dragons. Now we hit into mid-season madness. First 2 games, 0-3 results straight away. Lip is now fantastic on that Sojin. The reintroduction of Fate and Lee Jae-gon, I think, has helped this team out immensely as well. We go over to Ilios. Best ball map in the entire pool. Gaga versus Fate on the ball. I really can't wait. I mean, this was some of the best matchups that we saw last year, and we'll be blessed to see it again.
See, week 4, Shanghai were able to take them down. And that was when they were operating not quite at full power. A lot of people, I've been seeing, people discussing this a bit and asking the question, what happened? How did Shanghai Dragons get so good again? And, just kind of have to remind everybody the circumstances that they were playing under, circumstances that we don't even know the full extent of during the first part of the tournament. And now that we have them back on camera, they're in a much more comfortable location. They have stable internet. You can see that those things widely helping contribute to the overall success of the team, as well as the changes we've been seeing to the meta and the roster.
So I'll say one other thing that's contributing right now in this particular skirmish is that because Chengdu, despite dying, is playing Sombra and Shanghai not playing the Sombra, first of all, they have a hack against the ball, but they can also hack the Mega on the coast side, which they did do. So that should give Gaga a little bit of advantage in this ball matchup. Now that he has a Mega to play with him, that Fate does not.
Let's see if it's going to be good enough for them here. Split up. Jumping up over the top here. Looking around the back lines. Monk, however, great opening kill. Does find Lip, taking him down. At the start of the fight, they take on as well. Chipped away at.
Leaves on
Crash up
72.
here onto the top. Hack comes through. That's going to interrupt him as he tries to go for the pile driver. Get the finish here on a Monk. Cannot make it happen. More orbs flying through. Fleta will get on top of Leave. Finds that kill. Now he's going to have to try to catch up as far as ult charge is concerned because the pulse bomb is nearly there for Leave, and he's going to be rejoining here rather quickly. But Shanghai Dragons looking like they're going to be able to hold on to this point.
Yeah, I can't believe it. Leave's damage in that opening fight was unreal. He nearly has the pulse bomb. He was almost 50% ahead of Fleta. Shanghai Dragons as a team, though, far cleaner in that fight. You see Jimmy being very active. The unfortunate thing about playing Sombra, and I've talked about Sombra enough this year that I won't have to say too much here, but to get value out of Sombra here, you'd need Jinmu to be on Fate 24/7, bully the hell out of that ball, give Gaga an even more superior matchup, and then Chengdu can do
Look at this. This is disgusting. A dive just right in front of the dropship. Monk
spawn camping
will get topped up, so yeah, they're not going to be able to get any eliminations off that. That being said, Lee Jae-gun will find Leave, just hounding him down as he tries to harass and contest around the back lines. Jinmu going to be drawn out of stealth. Good spy checking here. Flat up.
And that's a big kill, by the way.
Continues to apply pressure here from the flank. He's dashing forward. He's got a pulse bomb in his pocket. He's ready to use it.
And Monk's already pulled the trigger on the Transcendence before anything happens, so they're forcing ultimates.
Stick.
And the stick doesn't even care about the Trans.
Stick. Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful there from the side of the Shanghai Dragons. A wonderful set play. Split going to be tagged low, rotates over, grabs that health pack. Leave trying to pursue. Continues to take Flood a little bit lower and lower, but he will manage to make it out with his life intact. Look now, Bob online, 95% final fight here for the side of the Chengdu Hunters. The minefield going to be opened up from Gaga. The Bob goes forward first and foremost from Lip. OT starting to bleed away. Gaga crashes back in onto the point once more, but he is low on HP. Grabs that mini. The rest of the team now have to be the ones to try to contest. Nisha, he gets pushed right into the crosshair of Lip. Strikes him down. The support's now gone. Lee Jae-gun with a whip shot finishes off Jinmu. There's the cleanup. Leave will be the last one to fall as it bleeds away. It's 100-0. Shanghai Dragons kicking off Ilios on Ruins with a win.
Absolutely. It's monumentous team diff coming on through. And looking on the Hunter side of things, as much as I would love to scapegoat the Sombra, I don't even know if that's the primary issue here, because you have a number of cases where outside the opening neutral, which goes reasonably well for the Hunters, Monk gets a frag as well despite losing Jinmu, so it's pretty evenly traded. Gaga has the extra Mega to play through. Dragons, once they got tempo and forced the first reset from Hunters, push all the way to spawn, and you actually saw from the Dragons' health bars, they got low. It's not like they didn't take damage, but they could not have those kills secured. Chengdu couldn't find those frags, and that's exemplified by the fact that Leave had nearly 600 more damage than Fleta, but he's got 0 final blows and Fleta has 6. Leave was doing the damage, but they couldn't finish off the kills.
Well, Jinmu going to be thinking the sky's the match. The Echo of Fleta. Let's see who can find more value there. Of course, Nisha does shift to the Mercy, getting that pocket healing, so a bit more sustainability for him as Fate's just going to be chased down. Cannot escape, cannot clear line of sight fast enough. Jinmu gets him with a beam.
So, if you're going to be pocketing an Echo here, putting Nisha onto a Mercy, which by the way I think is one of his best heroes, if not his best, you are losing a lot of extra value you would otherwise be getting from a Lucio or a Brig or a Bath or anything else. It means Jinmu needs to pop the hell off on this Echo to justify the fact that you have one player basically permanently pocketing one of your other players, so you're kind of playing 4v5 in a way.
Fleta gone, so quite literally playing 4v5. Another good pick-off here. Jinmu takes the lead towards that duplicate. Leave just getting right back onto the high ground. And I mean, Nisha, yeah, 2 prime targets. Which one do you want to go for? Damage boost on the Leave, the
big
pocket there for Jinmu. Either one is going to be a solid choice, and yeah, Lip taken down to the back lines.
And Gaga, by the way,
Minor
is about
point
doubled
test.
Fate's damage here, and ult charge, so the mine's be coming up pretty early. Lip's already given up on that Tracer. I think in some ways that's a good thing because now he can sort of affect the aerial battle a little bit more, put a bit more pressure on the Jinmu via his Ashe. Leaves playing with the Ashe on the other side, so you want something contesting that. So a good move by
You're not going to be able to out pressure
over
the healing from Nisha. I like it. Good dink. Forces Jinmu back, hits the floor. Well, shots flying out. Dynamite looking to try to land that over into the spa room. Cannot make it happen, though. Shanghai Dragons is really struggling to work their way over to the point. Even when they do that, Minefield is going to be waiting for them. Fleta, however, opens things, finds Nisha. That's going to be the healing. The damage boosts the res out of the fight. Dynamite over the top. Lee Jae-gon going to get chipped away at as Fleta melted. Jinmu wins the 1v1. No pocket, no problem. Finds the kill. Leave, however, now falling. Jinmu dead. Moves right up into line of sight of Lip. Takes his head clean off. The flip now starting to come through. Gaga turns, tries to recontest. Is discorded up. Doesn't have any healing. Will end up falling. So they managed to extend it up to 88%. The flip is there. Shanghai Dragons now on the board.
And that's what you want to see out of Dragons, right? I mean, the pressure coming through from Lip and Fled doesn't necessarily have to be onto Jinmu. Nisha has to be a prime target as well, and Lip can definitely target Nisha. If Nisha comes up anywhere out of position, sometimes as a mercy, that does happen. So Shanghai Dragons, they take down Nisha. Jinmu does trade, but he'll go down as well. And Chengdu will win the fight. So Jinmu forced a copy here. He was on 1 HP.
Yeah, Bob out first there from Leave. Lip now having his own a lot ready to go. Has used it. Rotate over to the Mega Pack. Fate trying to stay alive. Just get chipped away at, but Lip will manage to find Gaga. That looks for a little bit more. And Jinmu broken out. He's got nowhere to go. The whip shot will finish him. Rez is there to put the Wrecking Ball back into the fray from the side of the Chengdu Hunters, but the damage continues to be roughly insurmountable for them. Push around the corner. Lip again, finding another tap. Looking for Leave's head. Can't quite get that connection. Would have been a nice pickup, a good stagger on the back end, but Gaga is dead once more, and Chengdu Hunters are going to have to recollect and regroup. But look at this push coming through from Lee Jae-gon. He's just going balls to the wall, deep into the back line, all on his lonesome right now. He needs to get a bailout, but he's just chipping away at Lee. Barry comes in, and yeah, okay, he does finally fall, but look, Jinmu and Nisha are now dead.
It just shows the confidence from Dragons, right? That Lee Jae-gon would even go for that play.
From Lee Jae-gon.
That's one of those funny moments. That's probably not a good idea for Lee Jae-gon to do that. They're down in support now. They're down further members. Leave's got the kill onto Lip. What it does mean that Dragons will absolutely catch up to 80% at least, and even then, more kills are coming on through. Easy spot trans. Dragons can win this.
Chipped away at, pocket healing once more coming back through. Nisha going to be at the ready with the res should he go down as well.
Who touches Gaga?
It's going to have to be the one. Got the minefield available as well to try to buy some space. Pile drift paint, not going to find too much. Rotates around the back. Jinmu taken down, but beyond the grave, the sticky bombs will manage to take down Izayaki. Lee Jae-gon, Dynamite finally gets to him. And that's the supports out of the fight here for the side of the Shanghai Dragons. The flip coming through. Fate doesn't want to play the point, knows that they have 10% to play around with.
2 bombs.
Waits it out, but he cannot die here, and he does. Monk finds an elimination, and that is catastrophic here for the side of the Shanghai Dragons.
So Bob has a touchdown. Here we go. Lip managed to throw that one in. Somebody actually touched before that. Bob on Bob action on the point. One of them is discorded, so Leaves Bob will come out on top, and a lot of frags for the Hunters.
Lee Jae-gon does manage to find him. The projectile's flying, but Fate just a second too late. Cannot get that last contest to try to extend the fight, and even if he had, everybody else was dead. 199% into response of getting swept on Ruins. That's going to extend us to well to settle the map.
And I think this is Dragons, where you look at Ruins, they start spawn camping, they 100-0, super one-sided, but you get to the second round of Lighthouse. Dragons, they turn around and fight. They have to catch up to 88%. They get very confident. They start thinking about spawn camping on Lighthouse, which is not a very common map to see spawn camping on. Ruins, we see it a few times. Lighthouse, almost not existent. Lee Jae-gon goes especially deep. Shanghai gets punished. Not just Lee Jae-gon that dies. A bunch of other members die as well, giving Chengdu Hunters the ability to reset, get back to the point where we fight in mostly neutral territory, but it ends up being the fact that Gaga touches, has mines, is able to contest Fate, dies at the critical moment, and Chengdu win. So, Shanghai Dragons, I think, lack the respect there.
Thank you for the assistance.
Gaga dead off the rip. Record time there as Lee Jae-gon finds the finisher. Not sure if he sent him off the side of the map or if it was just a straight up kill, draining the HP bar. Either way, a good one there for the side of the Shanghai Dragons to find as the point unlocks and they look to get the initial cap coming through. Leaf contesting it for the moment, does dash away, grabs some HP, now goes into the back line of Shanghai Dragons, trying to apply some pressure where possible. Gaga straight up here in front of Fleta, but sticky bombs come through. Beam not even necessary. They find the elimination. First cap, locked in for the side of the Dragons once more.
Well, can they do something with the Legion on death, though? Probably not at this point. They need Gaga to get back into action. There's a brief window where Gaga should be here and Legion isn't. Great job by Leave on the Hunters to keep the point controlled and contested for as long as he did. Now the real fight starts.
Gone, the beam comes through, Leave is also there. They managed to work down the front line a bit. The support's that much more exposed, but speaking of supports, Lip finds Nisha. Pulse bomb stick, quick and easy, Jinmu dead. Lip comes up with 2, and that's going to be Shanghai Dragons retaining control, or maintaining it rather.
Yeah, good play from Lip there, who didn't get to play that much Tracer last year. I remember he had some great stats on the Tracer, but the play time was relatively low. Now when we look at this particular composition, you know, Fleta's obviously going to be your echo play, so Lip has to pick up on that Tracer, and so far that double kill will certainly show his hidden prowess on this hero that he doesn't display very much.
Recall used. Trying to stay elusive here. Jinmu tagged low, Discord Orb out onto him, retreats. He joins in with the supports, will stay alive, stay safe for the time being in the minefield. Dropped in from Fate, but it's going to be Leave who finds an opening kill. Pulse bomb out, Lee Jae-gon dead. Rally not used, however, still does have that as they come back in potentially for the recontest. If the Chengdu Hunters can get the flip right here. They are looking for it, and as you say, the rally is there from Nisha. A lot of green HP being offered up. Izayaki dove on. Almost actually gets the pick off there on the Leaf despite the pressure he was put under, but does end up falling all the same. Duke now going to be used, however.
Double Tracer.
Copy on a Leaf, puts another Tracer, into the fight, and they're both going to have pulse bombs pretty damn soon. Lip falling low, pulse bomb goes out from Fleta, unable to find the stick, unable to find the elimination. Dashes back, pulse bomb in. Nisha this time does end up falling. Fleta throws out the sticky bombs, forces the transcendence there from Monk. Offers up some healing here for the rest of the team as we go into overtime. Shanghai Dragons trying to close it out. Just the singular ult to work with. Jinmu goes for a dupe, goes for Lee Jae-gon. So now another rally potentially here for the side of the Chengdu Hunters as they look to win out the fight. The flip getting ready to come through, but Monk, Gaga, now Jinmu, they're all dead. Fate, the only one to fall. And as they clean up Nisha, that will be it. Shanghai Dragons, they can't get the win on Lighthouse, but as they shift over to Well, it is incredibly one-sided, much like we saw on Ruins. They will take Ilios and move up 1-0 in the series.
And part of the reason why Lighthouse is even a win for the Chengdu Hunters, again, is I believe that Shanghai Dragons overstepped and overstayed their welcome, went a bit too deep into spawn. Dragons, you know, they pull back, they play well, and they say, okay, let's play this a little bit normally. Let's not try and disrespect the other team too hard. Play a standard game of Overwatch. They do that, and you see the difference coming on through. Lip even, I think, you know, very much impressing on the Tracer here. Scariest moment is definitely when Fleta also goes for the Tracer copy, so now you're both Lip and Fleta on Tracer, both with pulse bombs. You look at it from Nisha's POV, and it's an absolute nightmare. You've got two of the best Tracers out there just hunting you down. And Chengdu Hunters, despite getting some reasonable good picks there, I think one of their best moments was Leave kills Lee Jae-gon at 99% to rally. Nisha then pops to rally, so they have a 5v4 plus rally advantage, but even with that, they couldn't beat the Shanghai Dragons, who only had 4. And that's a very telling moment, so unfortunately for Chengdu Hunters, even in some of their best moments, they just couldn't pull through. Reasonable good play on Lighthouse, though, so you give them that.
All right, well, let's see if that Lighthouse can come back, that performance from them, as we get ready to go into our hybrid map. It's going to be Midtown coming up next. Shanghai Dragons currently 1-0 in the lead. See if they get to match point, if the Chengdu Hunters even it up when we come back. And we're back. Shanghai kicking off the series with a win on Ilios, 2-1. Close. Chengdu Hunters able to get that victory there on Lighthouse, but the other 2 rounds just couldn't quite hold the candle to the Shanghai Dragons, who continue to look absolutely superb. Midtown now going to be coming up. We'll see if Shanghai Dragons can get a map win there to take this to match point, or if the Chengdu Hunters can tie it up. They absolutely need to, because just a reminder on the stakes, Chengdu Hunters need this win. In any condition, any scoreline, but they need the win if they want to make it into mid-season madness.
The tournament lives depend on it now. With Fusion winning against the Charge, Hunters have to go flawless here. And I think Chengdu Hunters, they had some reasonable moments, some glimpses on Ilios that looked okay, but you know, during even more neutral moments or moments where I felt like Hunters were slightly ahead, it didn't look very clean. They couldn't quite clean it up. So many Shanghai members low on Ruins that Hunters failed to get kills on. Leave really is trying his hardest right now stat-wise. He is more than keeping up with the Shanghai Dragons. But I think a few other areas there are definitely not quite on par. The Sombra excursion there, not quite successful for the Chengdu Hunters. I feel like you definitely need to be a team that's ahead and controlling the map. So you're setting up dives with Jinmu Sombra, getting that damage and hacking Fatal up, but when you're behind, you're being spawn camped. Sombra really just does nothing for you there. Impressed with some of Jinmu's Echo. You know, this is a new hero that he has had to pick up for this year. Actually looked okay, especially versus Fleta, but largely Chengdu Hunters, it's Leave keeping up with the Shanghai Dragons, and the rest of them struggling.
I mean, it makes sense. You know, in the past we've seen Jinmu Sfara and whatnot. Echo, obviously not quite the same at all, but similar. Take this, guys.
Farah and better Farah.
Yeah. Well, with this map, though, coming through, Leave, you can see, already going to be moving over to the Sojourn. And something that has been looking really, really good as of late, something that was severely lacking for the longest time, was Jinmu's Tracer. But the last time out, he looked really good on it. So now he's going to be showing it once more. We'll see if he can get back into that form.
I just saw the stat line there as well. All-time record between these two teams is 9-2 in favor of the Shanghai Dragons. But the 2 that the Dragons did win were 3-0s. The most resounding one that we saw was actually last year, I believe it was during Melee, where week 1 even, they got a 3-0 victory where Gaga popped off on the Winston and Leaf's Tracer was impeccable. I don't know if you remember. We were both there, but you know, that was the last time that Hunters actually beat the Dragons.
You know, Chengdu Zone and all that stuff, I'm sure those references were made. Safe to say. But yeah, I mean, Chengdu Hunters not being one of the original franchises in 2018, they don't get to pad their stats in the matchup versus the 0-40 squad, so it does look very wobbly for the Shanghai Dragons. We're able to start finding their groove there in 2019. What with the stage 3 championship over the Shock, etc. Crash up, they find Leave. Support provided by Gaga, leaping over to the tube just to try to keep it covered, but this does leave Monk a bit exposed here on the point. Fate crashing through for just a moment with Lee Jae gone dead. He's trying to make his exit, but it's not being allowed, at least not yet. He manages to get inside, but Jinmu hounds him down, finds the elimination all the same.
And this is where Jinmu's ability on the Tracer becomes important, because Lee was really trying his best to carry on the Tracer on our previous map of Ilios. That duty now falls on top of Jinmu. He has to go up against Fleta, who traditionally has been one of our best Tracer players. So, it's a difficult game now for Jinmu to step up in that kind of way. So seeing him get that frag into Fate, finalize it, good stuff. Shanghai have reset completely. They're ready for the next push.
Fleta spotted there, being tracked by the Discord Orb, but Lip,
good solo,
taken down. Yeah, he was playing here, underpass. Gaga just gets on top of him. Solo kill for the Winston. Fate once more. Under fire, tries to get the pile driver in, but connects into the bubble. Good little footsteps there from Gaga. Keeps himself safe. Wrap around the corner, Leave, sending that rail through. Almost goes down for it though. Greedy play. He really manages to survive.
If he goes down, though, I think the point is done for. Dragons just push on forward and win. So that would have been rough indeed. Nano's available now, goes straight on top of Gaga.
Oh, the Izayaki under fire, and that's going to be both supports taken down. Jinmu playing off the back of Gaga there with the Nano boost. Says thank you very much, claims the kills into the kill feed, and that's half the time now drained away. Shanghai Dragons, not even a single tick established as Lip is in danger of being taken down, but no, a quick rail build. He'll find Jinmu.
And Chengdu need ults there. Now, they're very close to ultimates. Jinmu is a tracer, so can rejoin the team very quickly. Shanghai's pacing needs to ramp up massively so they can get this 5v4 before Jinmu arrives. At minimum, they should be forcing ults out of Hunters if they can get them in time. Hunters just a bare percentage points away. The fact that Shanghai have slowed down will give Hunters the ability to get ults.
Allows for everybody else to join back in. Gaga is body blocking there for a moment. Fate taking so much damage, can't roll out. Ends up getting dropped once more time, going to be bought. Jinmu drops the pulse bomb right there at their feet. Izayaki, he uses the Transcendence. This is catastrophic for the Dragons. A massive overstep on the ult, recall out. Jinmu staying safe, and well, it seems like Izayaki might live to fight another day. The stagger not going to be coming in. They get the Transcendence out.
Yeah, I mean, he won't be dying, but he'll have to use the... He'll have to kind of have that Walk of Shame back to spawn, right? Or at least regrouping with his own team. Transcendence, trying to save the rest of his team, but Fate and Lee Jagon already dead. Obviously, Lee Jagon will die with the pulse on him, doesn't care about the Trance at all. And Hunters, on top of that, have another Nano coming online, so Nisha's managed to build up another.
Jump around the flank, just keeping Lee Jagon honest. Minefield now going to be dropped here on the stairwell. Gaga throws the bubble in just to clear out a decent amount of space. Escort Monk down from that high ground. They look for the recontest.
Oh!
Monk
Trance
taken
gone.
down. Lee Jagon finding the elimination. Good pile driver set up there for the side of Fate. Flip now with the overclock pop finds Nisha. That's the supports out of the fight. Leave going to be finished off. Fate finding him, and Gaga not going to be able to survive despite the primal rage. Jinmu still dashing and ducking around somewhere, trying to find some extra picks, but Fate is on the hunt. The point is being capped.
And it should be capped at this stage as well, unless Monk wants to go for a last-minute Transcendence, but you don't have a team. You need some win conditions here. He's coming close. He's going to go for it. Feels like, yeah, he might actually.
Pushed out.
Leave has to go as well. Leave has to pop ult. Surely.
He gets whip shot away, pops the Transcendence, just keeps everybody alive here for the time being. 10% left to go. Out of Lee Jagon going to fall. Izayaki as well. Eliminated the overclock. Finds the elimination. Leave. Trying to go on the hunt. Finds Spletta. Gets the hit. Holy! Is taken down. And they're going to make it happen. The full hold. Fate knows it's over. He just sits still. 92.4%. Leave playing off the back of Monk's contest. They make it work. What a turnaround. The Chengdu Hunters full hold the Dragons.
That's your MVP from 2021, baby. Coming in with only a Transcendence. It's like a two-player retake. They just go for it. Gaga not even there. Was that an ace, by the way? I think Lee finished that off with an ace as well.
They may have.
Unbelievable shots coming on through. Eats a rail from Lip cleanly, but doesn't die. Then lands shots onto everybody else, including a sick flick onto Fleta. Unreal sights. I mean, Leaf has come online. He was still really keeping up, and more than keeping up with the Dragons on the previous map. But here, where Chengdu have some pretty successful defenses, Jinmu finds great value on his Tracer. It's looking over. Monk dies with Trance. Pretty much over from there. Nisha dies as well. Leaf would love to pop the overclock in that moment, but without any healing, he doesn't want to risk just losing the ultimate, so holds it. Monk, because he dies early, is the first person to come on back. Leave on the Sojin is a fast hero, and they just say, we're going to do it. Why not? Pop the Trance, make it happen. Major risk. That was if they fail that, that's two ultimates wasted, Achilles. Very high risk, but my goodness, is it also a high reward.
I mean, Chengdu go to the casino after this one because they're rolling the dice hot right now. Let's see what happens now as they go for the attack. Shanghai Dragons needing a fuller hold if they want to win this map and move up the match point. Otherwise, the Chengdu Hunters seeming like, in Leave in particular, seeming like he definitely wants to be a part of the mid-season madness tournament.
Yeah,
he's making damage to make sure that they can get at least this map win.
Leave is single-handedly just controlling Destiny. He's manifesting Destiny. He's trying to will his way into the mid-season man as best he can. I gotta credit Gaga as well. The swap from Ball to Winston here worked out wonders. Nisha finding two nanos on that defense as well in quick succession. Jinmu even finding frags, but can they convert? That's okay. You've managed to get the hold. 92.4% though, so it's not quite over. Shanghai still have an opportunity. They get the opening first blood.
That they do, and Fate does manage to make it out of there with his life intact. It was looking a bit dangerous for him, but manages to roll out. Would be a big punish if they could have gotten him. For now, Shanghai Dragons breathing a little bit more easily. Spletta just continues to play the flank, keeping eyes, relaying information for the rest of the squad to try to play off of. Fate going for the dive. They know that Monk is going to try to reconnect with the rest of the squad, but they get right on top of him before he can do it. A great punish here from the side of the Dragons. Fate out in the middle of nowhere, but they can't play off the sleep. ends up going down. Now Leave is going to be picked as well, and Nisha is not in a good spot. Between a rock and a hard place, Gaga up on the high ground cannot escape. The cleanup finally comes through. They flush him out.
The most dangerous thing here is that Izayaki will get a Transcendence, so you can tell for the win condition via the Hunters, they're going for kind of like a one-and-done type composition, which is why I respect the Jinmu pick on towards the Genji. Usually you would probably be playing Tracer here, but when you only just need to cap A, working for a Nano Blade and using that as your win condition, even if the Nano Blade fails but you make good trades, you can come back in for a player advantage fight straight afterwards. So Hunters know what they need to do. It might take them the full 4 minutes to get it done, but they know they only need that one, and that one could also come from a great pick like that.
Yep. Huge value. Monk with a great headshot. It's going to get them onto the point. The first tick getting ready to come through, and Fate is still being zoned back, not contesting. So first tick locked in, even with Nisha gone. Monk continuing to get closer and closer to that transplant. However, gets on top of him, finds that elimination, but it will be at the cost of Izayaki, who now falls. Lijigon trying to stay alive.
Watch the blade.
Keeps going lower and lower. Doesn't have the rally. Leave dead.
Oh!
Overclock pop. Lip will find Jinmu. Finds Gaga. Picks him up. Lijigon dead on the back end of that fight, but doesn't matter. They've won this one out. Shanghai Dragons continuing to keep their heads above the water. A minute and 25 seconds remaining as they look for the fuller hold.
Yeah, Lip saves them. Big save there from Lip on the overclock, but Jinmu, you were saying they're rolling hot, but this time he loses big. He doesn't wait for the nano. Nisha's only a few percentage points off. They felt like they could win off the blade alone. It was a dry blade. Jinmu dies, and the blade should have been what finishes the game off and gives them the map. But now things look a little bit more dire. Nisha's probably going to have to nano Gaga instead.
Might be the target, or maybe the nano clock if Leaf can get that ready to go. Just
Nice
90% away, but no,
Jinmu.
it's going to be a nano on the Jinmu once more. He's chasing him the back line, but the rally is now rolling from Lee J gone. Fate once more off screen, going to be slept. The punish is there. Monk lines up the right click charge, gets the headshots through. The hamster is eliminated. Leave gets the rail across. Lee J gone is dead. And now it's the final tick-ups coming in. Izayaki trying to see if they can go ahead and repeat history, but this time in their favor. The trans moves forward here onto the point. Now it's going to expire. Now it's going to be matched. Monk pops his own. Izayaki taken down. Fate has re-arrived, but needs to stay on this point. Even swinging around is allowing for percentage to be accrued. It seems like it's not going to matter in the end. They zone him back. The cap comes in. No fuller hold today. Shanghai Dragons making me believe for just a brief moment they take the clock down low, but the Chengdu Hunters will not be denied. The cap comes in, they tie it up 1-1.
I mean, honestly, what a great map from the Chengdu Hunters overall. Full hold into, you know, a little bit of mistakes on the attacking side. You have to consider the greed coming through in Jinmu as well. Just got a little bit too far ahead of himself. Play a little bit more patiently, wait for the nano. Could have been a different story, but I'm glad they still managed to get the win regardless because it felt like they deserved that win. They worked so hard to secure the defense. Leave major heroics off the back of Monk's Transcendence as well. A 2vx retake in this Overwatch. I mean, I think that is the epitome of what I love about Overwatch 2. That's the kind of thing that is simply not possible in Overwatch 1.
Yeah, I mean, or at least fewer and far in between when you get to see moments like that. Incredible from Leaf. We got to watch it again in the play of the game replay, but I'm sure it'll be a part of the post-match highlights for sure. An incredible clutch moment from him, and just great from the entire squad. Monk getting out there, popping that Transcendence, buying enough time, and then Leaf just connecting with those rails. Wonderfully done from the Chengdu Hunters. That does tie it up, and that means that they are one step closer to keeping themselves alive for the mid-season madness. Coming up next, we're going to be moving into Escort, and once more we have Dorado for you guys. We'll see what happens. We'll see who can move forward in this series when we come back.
This ends now. Two down. Going somewhere? Precision and control. Is there it?
And we are back. And while we didn't get to 5 maps in our first series, it's definitely still possible here for our second, but we're at least guaranteed 4. So maybe we can rename it to 4 Map Friday. Worst case scenario. Either way, we're avoiding the 3-0s. That's all I care about. And this series has certainly heated up. Chengdu Hunters, absolutely wonderful performance from them there on Midtown, getting the full hold onto the Shanghai Dragons. It gets close to being a fuller hold, but they managed to persevere at the end, and now it's all tied up 1-1.
And I don't think the narrative is that negative if Shanghai Dragons don't completely destroy the Hunters, because I think people have this kind of weird perception of the Dragons that like, oh, okay, if they're winning, then they have to 3-0 everybody. But you have to give some respect that some other teams here are very competitive, and we saw that Chengdu Hunters not only took Seoul Dynasty to 5 in this particular patch and meta, this tournament cycle, but they almost probably have won that series as well, had they not C9 3 times. Chengdu are very good in this meta. In the mid-season manage, Chengdu, in my opinion, are probably even potentially a better team than the Fusion, but they have a lot of catch-up to do. So I don't think it's out of the question at all that Chengdu are playing the Dragons close.
Yeah, I mean, you know, in the past, this is a roster that Chengdu Hunters have been able to take down. You know, when it was 6v6 in Overwatch 1, when Chengdu Hunters, or rather when Shanghai Dragons went on to win the entirety of the Overwatch League, Hunters have been able to best them. So it's definitely not a bit of a head-scratcher. I think, you know, the inconsistencies, the mistakes that Chengdu Hunters made does paint them in a negative light. But when they are not, you know, rather, when they are playing on the points, when they are contesting objectives, and we see the level of cohesion that we have been seeing from them as of late, they are a force to be reckoned with. There is not a team in this region that can go up against the Chengdu Hunters with confidence and say, yeah, we're going to be able to slaughter them. You never know what's going to happen.
And, you know, we've had the orange chicken ball, and I'm not saying every single matchup needs to have a name onto it, but there is a specific Chinese dish that is pretty traditional. It's the tomato egg stir fry, which when you think about the colors of the two teams, it does kind of match. So, you know, it's I had that dish in my childhood. If anybody that's Chinese knows it. But, yeah, here we go. Let's see how far in the distance we're going to get with this one. Both teams looking towards the Ash. Obviously, we saw in our previous series between Fusion and the Charge that Ash is very good on Dorado. Big dive map. Fate on towards the Winston. Love to see it.
All right, we'll see who's going to be able to come out on top. Have a develop-esque performance, perhaps.
Which used to be on this team.
I think based on history, sounds like it's kind of a negative, but given what we saw from Develop earlier on this very map, it's very much a positive thing.
And it's kind of crazy because last year, you know, it's a different look for Leave as well, because we've seen plenty of Hunters on this map last year, but he was always the Tracer player here. So now he's the hit scan player of the Chengdu Hunters, has been for the entire year. Last year he was competing against Flitter, now he competes against Liv.
I'm sure Flitter as well would love to take a bite out of him if he can. Fate under a hell of a lot of pressure. Somehow managing to stay alive. We know how much of a rough time these Winstons can have when they're trying to deal with Zenyatta on the opposite side. And while Fate does manage to survive, it's going to be Lee Jae-gon who ends up going down. But it's spotted around the back with the unscoped headshot coming through. Really forcing him low. He continues to harass around the back lines, but Jinmu, he gets the better of him.
Wow.
I was about to say Jinmu has been passing him towards that pulse bomb buildup. He now has it. He gets the stick instantly. And there's some further stagger for you. Now they have to go ahead and back away from this position.
This guy's been queuing some quick play in the beta, I see. Chengdu Hunters, decent opening here. Gargon to take some opening space as well into, you know, the spawn, the scouting. Always love to see it. Nano available from Izayaki, so this is Shanghai's opportunity now. Nano will most likely go into Fate, as they're going to have to try and break high ground all over again. Halo sliding backwards, but still in the archway. You can see that Chengdu are just keeping eyes on Fate, because they know that he's going to be the Nano target.
Coach got out to try to force them back. Fate continues to push forward. Monk falling lower and lower, but the rally is enough for him to survive. They cannot out-pressure. They cannot get that kill, and now with Monk surviving, he has the trance at the ready, and he pops it as soon as he gets the moment. But Gaga and Nisha, they're not a part of the healing. They end up getting taken down, dive to the back. As the kills come through, and it seemed like maybe they were going to be able to continue this hold, what with Monk having the ult ready, but just not in a position to really get the max value out of that healing. They go down, and that's going to be the cap.
I mean, the rally was good for quite some time, right? And the eggs turn green, as they say, as the green HP, Monk and Leave both were purple during that, so the green HP helping them just stay alive for as long as they did. Hunters ultimately still fall prey to the Shanghai Dragons, who were pushing that entire time. Off the back of a couple ultimates, Shanghai able to make their way over towards B. Hunters still hold on to a couple of ults, so should be a Bob defense coming on through Gaga Minefield as well, will always give them a lot. So it shouldn't take long here for Hunters to establish some sort of good defense.
Yep. Challenging the high ground. We'll see how Dragons are going to go about it. Like it's going to be involving a Winston and a Primal Rage, one would think.
Oh, another
Pulse in the
step!
back. It connects onto the shield, though. Lee Jae-gon managing to hold that right click fast enough, keeps himself protected. So this time around, Jinmu not getting the kill, but the stick accuracy, I suppose you could say, is still going to be looking rather good for him. Target prioritization as well. Dashing around the back, is looking for Fleta, forcing him from one mega pack to the other. Continuing to try to hound him down, keep him occupied so the supports have that much more peel.
I love the confidence from Jinmu to do this because, you know, he barely gets the Mega Pack, but, you know, in the past, you'd never think that Jinmu would be able to hold his own up against Fleta, but here we are. Monk takes down Fleta as well, Sans Prime. I mean, the Primal just didn't even come out.
I mean, this is the thing. You don't have that dive to come through from the Tracer and the Winston. It's just a Winston by himself, and he just gets ripped apart. Cart does advance a decent amount here, but 2 minutes remaining. It's absolutely holdable for the son of the Chengdu Hunters. Dive in once more, looking for Fleta, and yeah, I mean, Jinmu's just able to keep Fleta on, is able to keep him occupied, so that dive, they cannot find Monk.
I've got to say as well, you know, the payload distance is pretty significant, so despite Dragons losing that fight, in a way they still win because they can now translate that into objective pressure where Chengdu have to be considerate of all angles. The rest of the map of the courtyard is now completely opened up. Jinmu has to spend a lot of time contesting payload now because you can't allow players like Fleta to get free push on. That was great pushing from Dragons despite losing.
See how they decide to get back over onto the cart. Fake gonna be knocked down to the low ground. Lee Jae-gon rally pop, trying to escort everybody forward. Taking damage from both flanks now. Pulse bomb from Fleta, however, will find leave. That opens things up a good amount for them. Jinmu, pulse bomb about to be up 5% from now. So he can find another stick. As the push continues to come through, Transcendence going to be used. Monk dropping down, escorting the rest of the squad forward so they can keep this payload locked into position. Pulse bomb still at the ready. Jinmu popping the recall, looking for the target. This time it's not going to lead to a stick. It's not going to lead to a kill, but Izayaki and Fleta both still fall all the same. Lip chunked away at, still sitting here on the high ground, finds lead, but is quickly traded back. Shanghai Dragons now have 50 seconds left to try to get this push through to B.
And, you know, the great thing about Hunters on this comp now is that everyone is playing heroes that they're very good at as well. Jinmu gets a, you know, very nice staggered kill coming on through. Time is really running up for the Shanghai Dragons, but we could be seeing the whole coming on through and a further stagger. This can't happen
These
for
are
the
Giga
Dragons.
staggers. What is happening? Fate and Lee Jae-gon both dead after the fight is already concluded. That is absolutely huge. Gonna be looking at a 10-second contest here. Fate now swapping back over to the ball as the rest of the team starts making their way forward.
Nano?
Trying to scout things out.
Nano
versus the minefield, which has been dropped in. Nano has to be used just to keep Lip alive. Still gets jumped on. Still, however, manages to find an elimination. Takes out Monk. It wasn't even a target that was up close and personal with him. He went for long sight lines. Gets that kill. Cart now going to be contested. The overtime rolling through. Nisha taken down as well. Now Gaga out of the fight. Fleta coming in with 2 huge pickoffs. Cart rounding the corner, advancing forward with Gaga dead. I don't think they're going to be able to contest it this time around. Monk does not have his Transcendence available, and you can see them zat back. Dash in, Jinmu does get the touch, so they are going to try to play this one out. Gaga now arriving, and Lip is dead. Pulse bomb from Fleta, gets the kill onto Monk, taking one of the supports out of the fight. Nisha's still going to be there, 20% away from having the rally online, and once more, Jinmu, he lets the pulse bomb fly, but it's not going to find the stick, and now Lee Jae-gon's okay. I'm safe to use the rally. Uses that one, tries to keep everybody alive as Izayaki was taken down, but the rally does not last very long. The headshot comes in. Lee finds the kill, but Fleta finds another, taking down the enemy Ashe. Jinmu dashing around, looking for a target, avoids the pile driver, pops the recall, keeps himself safe. Fleta low, dead. They get the kill. It's just Fate now on the card. Gaga trying to smack him off in this position as best as humanly possible. Lip up on the high ground. Lee Jae-gon rejoined, swapping over onto the Lucio. Lip gets the headshot. Gaga's dead. The camp is there. The Chengdu Hunters managed to get that extra minute and a half, but the Chengdu Hunters are still pushing forward. Nisha has the rally rolling. They're looking for some extra staggers. They're looking to lock this cart out of point C. Shanghai Dragons, they'll be grateful to get a second lease on life.
I mean, a great recovery from the Shanghai Dragons to force themselves to get this cap, but my goodness, I think Chengdu Hunters would be a little bit upset about that. The fact that they were almost winning that fight, I mean, in the OT, Rally comes online. They were down 2 supports. 3 players were living for forever despite not having any supports. And then the cap comes through. Hunters, I don't know what happened there. Maybe just one person stepped away for a millisecond and it was done for, but I truly believe they could have held on B. And we'll have to see if this one comes back to bite them a little bit later on their own attack, because they're going to have to push into C as well now.
And Gaga is parting the minefield. Now the Bob going to be invested as well. Goes charging over towards the stairwell, matching Bob out from Leave, and it's finding so much value. Both the supports taken down. Fate just eating shots. Lip, however,
Lip, though,
managing to find 3 kills. A 4th kill for Lip. As Monk will go down. One of them's the Bob. Doesn't necessarily count, but either way, an immense amount of value found as he looks for Jinmu. Dashes over to the right now. Advances forward towards the cart. Takes the recall out to safety. The cart advancing forward. 10 seconds remaining for the Shanghai Dragons. Just a pulse bomb to play off of.
Shanghai Dragons, they have the closer respawns though, so the hold should still come on through if they don't make further mistakes, so they get these picks as well. Lee Jae-gon barely surviving. Jim has been trying to get Lee Jae-gon down, but the shield goes up.
The first couple sticks from Jinmu looking clean this time around. Hasn't been able to really find too much purchase. The shield stick hasn't gotten eliminations from that. Fate falling low. The nano used. Izayaki keeping him alive. Gaga going to be burned down by the dynamite. Nano forward, Lip once more finding a second elimination. Jinmu taken out of the fray. The dive comes in, they're looking for Leave. They juggle him out into the open.
Good
Sleep
sleep.
dart will buy him a little bit of space. Leave staying alive. Cart not contested. The OT bleeding away. They barely managed to touch. Lee Jae-gon making it happen. Coach Gun forces them back for just a moment. Pile driver in from Gaga. Looking to knock somebody in the air. Looking to isolate a target so that Leave can click some heads, but he is still under pressure. Anisha is now dead. The rally is rolling to Lee Jae-gon. Leave has been felled. They're getting on top of Monk. The shield bash will finish him off. And once more, it seems like the Shanghai Dragons will not go down. They never say die. The cart will push to the end.
And a 4K, I believe, from Lee Jae-gon as well. At least 3 coming through via the rally. Big frags. Rally will carry them through at the end of the day. And the Shanghai Dragons, after recovering from what was looking like an awful situation on B, Lip receiving the nano from Izayaki to stay alive, and then getting the frag onto Monk, continuing to push on through. Here we go. This will be the Bob frags coming on through from both teams, right? They got the multiple frags. We saw a little bit earlier on. Kind of just forgot about Lip's Bob after it woke up. But a situation that was very preventable for the Hunters, considering, you know, there is a very good opportunity, a very real opportunity there for them to actually have held B, not allowed the cap to come through. And I did say, like, could this come back to bite them? Now, it's going to come back to bite them heavily, because not only did Dragons get B, but they snowballed C as well. Now, Hunters still got a lot of frags into the final fight, was extremely back and forth. Leave even receives the nano this time, almost akin to exactly what, you know, Izayaki did for Lip. But the rally difference, the rest of Shanghai regrouping. Hunters, unfortunately not able to get the rest of the frags. Jinmu, maybe if he got that stick off the Lee Jae-gon, it could have been different. You know, so many if-buts and maybes.
Hello there.
Yeah. Well, we don't live in the multiverse. We can't just dive into other realities and see what would have happened.
5, 4, 3.
Now we just have to focus on the attack of the Chengdu Hunters, who do need to complete Dorado if they want to move up to match point. Otherwise, Shanghai Dragons will be one step closer to denying them access, and also one step closer to potentially overtaking the Hangzhou Spark for the Midseason Madness. Leave jumping back up for there a brief moment, but didn't receive enough healing, so decides to cheat back. Doesn't want to get eliminated by Fate right off the bat, who's just having a bit of a wet noodle fight. Hugging around the corner, says, yeah, this is fine. Zap away, my friend. Your ult percentage gain is not going to be too massive. Goes back over once more, just occupying space, keeping Leave taken care of here.
Super well played by Fate there. Like you said, he knew he wasn't going to go down. He completely sort of challenges, I wouldn't say completely nullifies, but he definitely challenges the Chengdu Hunters TP play into the high ground. And Leave's been kind of struggling to find the correct angle so far. Definitely looking for his counterpart on the other side, who is Lip. Payload, slight movements, but nothing insane. Again, it just comes down to the fact that Fate has been controlling space.
It has been. It's fall low. And, I mean, Leave just kind of playing straight up alongside the cart. He's looking for line of sight. Knows that he needs to get a headshot, trying to open things, and that could have been a big one. Slow run back from Lee Jae-gon would have been quite the punish, but doesn't get the hit across. Gaga now knocked down below half HP as the Chengdu Hunters approach to the side room, but Leave gets caught. He was left behind, the last one through the door. The door swings shut right on his foot. Kills now continue to fly out. The Nano does get used, invested here onto Gaga. Lee Jae-gon will finally fall, but the rest of the team is still here. They're still healthy.
Oh, late
As
death.
Monk gets cleaned up for some additional stacker. Yep, late death as Flutter finds 2.
And I was going to say as well, you know, that one kill into Iziaki is actually usable, but now that Monk's dead as well, they're going to have to wait too long, so Iziaki should be able to rejoin the fight. Ends up being a very expensive nano for not a lot. I was going to say expensive nano for what will be Hunters getting a 5v4. That no longer being the case. Sojin also being used by Leave now as the swap does come through. A little bit strange because I think the Widowmaker was doing a lot of work. You know, ult-wise, Leave was keeping up in damage despite not finding the headshots. It's a trade.
Oh, Jinmu finds the second support. That's Iziaki and Lee Jae-gon taken care of. Nisha, the last one left standing, now will die. Flutter manages to get that kill. Rotates back, grabs the Mega Pack. Builds a couple more dashes. A minute and 30 seconds remaining as Leave cannot escape. He tries to slide away from Fate, but it's right into the welcoming arms of Bob. Bob's getting some work in today.
I think this has basically been the entire story of Dorado so far for me, which is to say that Hunters will get a reasonable lead, Shanghai Dragons get some good trades, and then Hunters can't close it out. Like, you know, it's like one step forward, 2 steps backwards a little bit for the Chengdu Hunters. Not necessarily from their own play, but Dragons are just forcing them. You know, Hunters walk up, Dragons shove them back. Let's see if Hunters can do a bit of shoving themselves via the blade. It's not looking good.
Jinmu had a slight little window of opportunity to find that elimination, but then the Transcendence comes through from Lee Jae-gon. He keeps Iziaki alive. The Nano goes forward. Gaga now taken down. Lee Jae-gon finding that kill. Tries to stay alive, but Lee will finally finish him off with that rail. Jinmu 20 HP in a dream. Dashing and ducking around. Somehow still has not died. He kills them both! What just happened on screen?
Way. There's no way.
Jinmu
claps.
had no HP.
He knows.
1v2. And somehow he kills them both, and that's enough for them to get the cap.
Yeah.
What a clutch. Look at that smile on his face.
Jinmu Happy is the name of that emote. Look it up.
I need a replay. Stat.
That is incredible. No HP, wins a 1 versus 2 like that. And I was going to say, he's doing a great job of distracting the Shanghai Dragons backline so the Hunters can get some decent push in there. Jinmu will probably eventually die, but he's buying great space, and he's like, no, I'll just kill them. You know, why not?
You run that simulation 100 times, and I think 99 of them, Jinmu dies. He found the one opportunity where he could get that victory.
The one multiverse.
The dynamite. Yeah. Once, I know we said we don't do that, but we just did. Jinmu made it happen. He opened the portal, and he continues to do so as Lee Jae-gon gets taken down. The support's out of the fight. Fate, no hope in the world, ends up going down to that right-click headshot. Fleta trying to escape. He's got 1 HP, and Gaga just managed to clear the corner, and that's going to be such an immense amount of
Here we go.
Thank you, observers.
They just don't hit him. He's on 15 HP. He just completely demolishes them. Wow.
Jinmu he just neo'd out. He just neo'd out of control. He just dodged every shot.
That is an outplay.
Kicking themselves for that one.
That's an outplay with a capital O. Holy.
Unbelievable. Blade pulled, finds one, looks for another, sets up for the kill on the Iziaki, and I mean the Chengdu Hunters just continue to cruise along here for B. Fate rejoining, goes to the pile driver, but ends up dying. That's the cap. 3 minutes nearly to chew through now for the Shanghai Dragons if they want to avoid extra innings.
I just had a capital O in my pants looking at that play, and now Chengdu Hunters 240 still remaining. I got the chuckle out of you. I appreciate it. And decent. I mean, that entire B has just been... I mean, we barely got to see B because we were in the middle of a replay. We come out of the replay, and Gaga's damn near capped the entire point, so Hunters have been snowballing the entire way through. They've really
catched up. They had the Discord out. Flood has been tracked, but the call came through. Nisha, he was sitting back. He was trying to watch for that Tracer flank, but it ends up costing him as Fate arrives. They get the pinch. They get the kill. Jinmu now taken down, pile driver, knocking Fleta into the air, but Gaga has to make his exit. Just build up the minefield in that little excursion. Just trying to escape, or escort rather, Monk out to safety, but the shield bash will be the finishing blow as Leave also under fire. Seems like there's enough, finally, enough firepower there from the Chengdu Hunters to force the Dragons back.
Okay, so this is the reset that Hunters never got to do against Dragons, by the way, on their own C defense, and that can be a huge difference maker. So despite there being 2 minutes, Hunters have no time to dilly-dally around. They have to be very stringent with how they play the rest of this timer, so it's coming online now. Can they wait for the Nano Blade? It might just have to be a dry Nano onto Chengdu, to be honest with you.
Pulse out, finds Nisha's shield, but the pile driver and both DPS focus firing him. He does end up going down. Solid start to the hold here. The final stretch from the side of the Dragons. They just corner lead, making sure he cannot slide out the safety. Monk as well, likely to suffer a similar fate as he gets popped up into the air. So some late staggers coming through. Shanghai Dragons punishing at every twist and turn where they can.
Yeah, that's a minute gone now, so with 1 minute left, Hunters have to have a flawless run through the entirety of C. Payload distance is very poor, which means it's going to be difficult. You are looking at a situation where Hunters basically cannot lose any more fights. As the OT swings around, Shanghai Dragons will be massively favored in that OT, so Hunters need to get max distance before that happens. They are very much waiting for this blade to come on through, but even with the Nano Blade, it won't be enough because you have to win like 2 to 3 fights here as the Hunters.
Minefield on the high ground from Fate. Slept, antied, knocked to the low ground. Not under too much threat though. Gaga goes crashing through, wakes him back up, gives him a little nudge. 4 ults versus the near 3 of the Dragons. Blade first, push up. Chengdu looking for a target. Narrowly sees Lip, but he manages to track him. Gets his Iaki as well. That's enough. That's going to be the opener here, but now they have to continue to win out the fights. Put with the pulse bomb, gets leave. Their work not done yet. Chengdu Hunters advancing forward. Fate arriving here on the high ground, going to be knocked back. Low HP, retreats.
Double support ultimates, by the way, for Shanghai Dragons, so Hunters still have their work cut out for them. Leave needs to go absolutely sicko with this overclock when it happens.
It's Nano on the flat up. He's looking for a target. Chengdu the first one to fall. Lip with a headshot. Gets that connection. Now the bomb is available. Bomb's finding an immense amount of value for him so far here on this map. Let's see if he can do it again. Gets thrown in. Now it's going to be woken up. Monk going to be taken down. Lee Chang with a whip shot, finding the kill. Nisha trades it back, making it a 1-for-1, but Nisha himself will end up dropping. No supports now in the fight for the Chengdu Hunters. The damage cut in half. They get the sleep onto Gaga off the cart. And while it gets close, while there's some wild moments, some incredible clutches throughout this for the side of the Chengdu Hunters, for Jinmu in particular, the Shanghai Dragons will be able to successfully defend. Now they move up 2-1. One more map for them. They take the series. They get one step closer to overtaking the Hangzhou Charge in the overall standings. And they're one step closer from knocking the Chengdu Hunters out of mid-season madness contention.
Well, that's the thing about this team, right? When you look at what happens on B, it seemed like they should have just been able to hold on B, and Hunters wouldn't even be looking at that situations. Hunters would be 2-1 up ahead, looking at match point as well. But the Shanghai Dragons, they will overcome the difficulties they had on that B push. They will have a far cleaner C push as well. And for the Hunters, they ran out of time, got spawn camped on their C approach for more than a minute. Cannot allow stuff like that to happen. They have great moments, but Shanghai Dragons still overall far more consistent.
Well, let's see what happens now. New Queen Street coming up next. Chengdu Hunters, they've had some magical moments when it comes down to these push maps. Can they have it once more when it matters the most? They need to win there, take this into a map 5 if they want to be able to take down the Shanghai Dragons. Otherwise, Shanghai will be eliminating them from the Midseason Madness tournament. We'll see what happens from contention, I should say. Obviously, the tournament hasn't happened yet. But anyway, that map coming up in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere, guys. This has been such a nail-biter series. For those of you who are here watching it live, you get to say, yeah, I was there when that series happened. It was absolutely wild. We're going to see the conclusion of it, or at least get one step closer to it when we come back. So do not go anywhere. And we're back. The action continues. 2-1 the scoreline right now as the Shanghai Dragons were able to win on Dorado, but it was not an easy affair for them whatsoever. Fighting tooth and nail is the Chengdu Hunters. They know better than anybody, better than us, better than everybody watching right now that the tournament lives are on the line. They have to get a win here if they want to stay alive, and they have to do it again in their next series. They need 2 wins if they want to stay alive for the mid-season madness. Shanghai Dragons, however, are looking to put an end to it here with what could be the last map of New Queen Street.
Possibly. And I think, speaking to the Hunters, the Dragon side of things now, is, we've looked at the Hunters. Admittedly, they have looked great this series, but when it really comes down to Shanghai Dragons in terms of their overall play, individually, obviously fantastic. Macro, great as well. Good objective control. Just their ability to make those comebacks happen as well. I go back to the Izuyaki Nano into Lip, who then gets a frag onto Monk. Speaking of Lip, by the way, I have a fun fact for everyone at home as well this time. I hope most of them have been fun for the people at home, but this one in particular. Now that the beta is there, you've all been playing the beta, hopefully. If you haven't, unlucky, but hopefully you get in. When you press tab, you all know what your damage numbers are. So you've probably finished a bunch of games. You've looked at the tab. You've seen, some big numbers. Sometimes you get a 10,000 damage game, and you're like, wow, that's a lot of damage. I probably did quite well, right? I don't know what the highest number that you've seen in your lobby so far is, but looking at the stats right now, I can tell you that Lip, at the end of Dorado, and this is without going to Time Bank, by the way, without going to the second phase again, we kept it within the original time. No Time Bank here. Lip had 20,004 damage. He broke the 20k.
Okay. That's kind of wild, kind of crazy. I think we saw, total damage dealt from MN3 in our last series was like 37,000 or something, roughly?
Over 4 maps. Lip did 20k in 1 map. With no time back. No time back, just regulation.
If somebody wants to convert that to per 10 minutes, I would love to see what that figure ends up.
10,893 per 10.
There you go. Nutty. Absolutely nutty. Anyway, here's the dive into the back line. They're looking for the supports. Nisha kind of hugging against the corner. But as I said, they're looking for the supports. Monk decided to get his hands dirty. Takes down Izuyaki, and the first fight victory goes the way of the Chengdu Hunters. They will be the one getting the bot pushing first.
Alright, so good opening picks coming on through. As the only one that actually died there was Leave, got hunted down by the Dragons, but the rest of the Dragons, minus Flitter, fell over. Flitter's still alive, just kind of lurking through. See that Gaga's already advanced his positioning to scout out some positioning from the other side. And now is Fate and Flitter wrap around and link up. They have to do something about this high ground. I mean, we see this kind of middle section, this middle high ground being controlled a lot by teams after winning the first fight, especially double supports hiding up there.
Maintaining control of the walkway. 33 meters already established here for the side of the Chengdu Hunters with the bot locked in place for the time being. Gaga rolling through the back, going dangerously low, and he kind of bonks his head on the door frame. Ends up falling, and that's the turning point here for the Shanghai Dragons as they look to take control without the tank. Somebody to hide behind and create some distractions. The Chengdu Hunters go into the meat grinder. Monk the last one to fall as the bot's already been rotated back. Lee J gone, keeping it moving in the right direction. Now the push will begin for the Dragons.
Yeah, so you have the Dragons kind of contesting the walkway, right? Fate and Flitter push both the supports of Hunters into that health pack room down below, and then the Dragons collapse, and better yet, they didn't have to use ultimates for it. So, very minor amount of pushing from Hunt. Well, it's not that much. 34.94 is okay, but Shanghai Dragons now control, and the ability to snowball further forward as well with ultimates online. Nano target will be interesting. Maybe just even on Lip. I mean, I think Flitter Lip will be ideal target.
Either one. Not really a bad choice for you on the side of the Shanghai Dragons. As it turns out, I mean, hell, even if you just use it on the Lee Jae-gon, I'm sure he'll probably come up with a couple kills. Speaking of which, Gaga crashing through, narrowly makes it over the health pack.
Oh my god, his HP.
Has that shield up, and does manage to stay alive at least for a little bit longer here. Flitter, however, now being chased out. Does retreat successfully. Bot once more going to start pushing here for the side of the Shanghai Dragons as they look to overtake and take the lead. Bob is going to be sat there. Not killed off, he'll just make his exit naturally. Rally rolling, Nisha now has that expired.
Yeah, well.
Headshots flying through, and Lip finds Jinmu. Fleta finds Nisha. As Gaga goes down, that's going to be a massive window now for Shanghai Dragons. The lead certainly going to be theirs. Lead rolling forward, trying to keep this contested, but Just too much pressure being applied, too many targets to have to clear. He can't quite make it happen. Dragons will grab the lead, and it may just be able to actually grab this checkpoint as well.
And important for Lee to go for the kill attempt there because, you know, on every other map you'd slide backwards and try and rejoin and reset. Here, if you even get one kill, it's a big deal. I like that freeze frame on Fate, by the way. He looks eternally happy, so I'm enjoying it.
White Fate happy. Minefield just to stop them from dropping down out of the window, but Monk does manage to find Fleta. Jinmu getting a second kill, now a third. Is both supports falling to the Chengdu Hunters Tracer. Flip crashed across there. Gaga rolls into him. And while the lead is established, the bot once more going to be taken by the side of the Chengdu Hunters, shipping it back across the opposite side of the map. We'll see how much distance they can gain.
No cap, though, so really important that Hunters contested when they did.
Yeah.
Preventing the cap is definitely everything in this sort of game mode, as Hunters made it expensive for Shanghai, who ended up using all their ultimates. Hunters also responded with ultimates as well, right? So both teams now heading into a neutral where no one's going to have realistically an ultimate. Maybe Lip in this next fight, that'll be it. See what kind of neutral play we can get, as Hunters need to find some way to actually engage. Pushbot is not going to make any further movements until they get kills.
Sleep out, pile driver down.
Gaga won again.
Takes Slip to half HP. Izayaki dead off screen in the meantime. Gaga finding some nice value. Jinmu widely ignoring the Ashe, just trying to get onto the supports and causing chaos, which is something that the Chengdu Hunters often do thrive in. Exchange now on the Wrecking Balls. Lee Jae-gon taken down. Jinmu once more finding a support. Looks like he's not going to be able to get the 2-for-1 special this time out, but still is finding good values. The Bob just going to be holding the bot in place.
It's an unfortunate place as well. He just kind of hides behind the barricade, which means the rest of the Chengdu Hunters don't have to really deal with the Bob, just wait it out. But the waiting time gives Shanghai the ability to respawn, right? So we are into another 5v5.
Okay, there's the checkpoint now for the side of the Chengdu Hunters. The forward spawn is theirs. Flooded taken down. Pressure forward here onto Izayaki. Gets popped up into the air. Orb of Harmony from Lee Jae-gon. Not going to be nearly enough to keep him alive. And he will go down on the back end of the fight as Monk claims him. Lip now dead as well. The stagger's looking absolutely monstrous. Chengdu Hunters coming up with kill after kill. Bot's break going to be expired. Somebody goes back. There you go. The push is going to start coming through, but Shanghai Dragons instantly find 3 on the back end.
The 71 is very recoverable for the Dragons as well, right? They can win a couple of fights while pushing. They won't get 71, so fantastic recovery from the Shanghai Dragons to get at least a couple of frags in. You have to kind of go balls to the wall to get whatever frags you can find, turn into a 5v4, and it will be a 5v4 that sticks because Hunters have to come back from such a long distance to make it happen. Because Hunters actually have the lead here, they can play fairly defensively. It's a lot of ultimates online for both teams.
With that overclock pop, Lee finds Izayaki. Transcendence going to be used by Lee Jae-gon. Overclock back end, not going to be finding too much. The rail won't connect. Bot gets up 57 meters here. As I believe the checkpoint has been hit. It has.
Transforced.
And they will leave it. Wow. I didn't quite catch how it was forced.
Pulse bomb.
Looks a bit questionable in the end. Oh, perhaps. That would make sense, I suppose. Well, either way. Don't have that tool anymore. Fate makes his exit. Monk getting jumped on down low. HP. Nano out onto Fleta. He's looking for this kill, but everybody from the Hunters actually just piles in on top of him.
That's good.
They managed to trade it back. Fleta gonna be the one who ends up falling. Fate drops in the minefield, but he will also go down to the Chengdu Hunters once more in control of the bot.
It's not too bad for Dragons considering they got the cap right. That means they don't have to wait for it again. Brilliant snowball kill coming through with Gaga as well, who's been really insane this map for me. How many times has Gaga managed to just slip through the fingers of the Shanghai Dragons, escaping on 1 HP while being extremely annoying, contesting backlines, getting kills on backlines, solo kills on Izayaki gets away on 1 HP, just stuff like that. And then body blocking is all helping his teammates, keeping his supports alive and dealing with Fleta. Gaga's been really strong on this ball matchup.
Dynamite not going to find anything. Bot once more. Escorted back here from the Shanghai Dragons. Trying to get this back over into Chengdu Hunters territory. As Jinmu just dashes out, locks it in place here for a brief moment. He's looking for Fleta. Takes him low, they force the recall. He's in a bad spot as well. Recall's right next to Gaga. Now has the dash out, wrap back around to join in with the rest of the squad.
Look at this though, Hunters don't even have
totally
to push.
fine with this.
They're just defending. They're in the high ground. They're in the walkway. They're not really forced to go further forward. Okay, Fleta gets double. That's insane. That will give Dragons the push now.
Yep, both the supports taken out in one fell swoop. Finds Jinmu as well for his troubles. Now it's looking for leave. Can he get the 4K? Dashes over the Mega Pack, going to be stolen away. Nate is there to try to buy some space, but Lip will arrive to go ahead and help his cohort.
I can tell you how it happened.
Down.
I don't even need a
By
replay
all
for this.
means.
I can guarantee it is, both supports playing on walkway. Fleta knows how to contest that area. We've seen him contest it with Fate in the past. This time he can solo contest it, lands one stick, one support would have run into the other, and that entirely breaks the defense. For Hunters, the strategy was sound. Defend the midpoint, have high ground control, do not push. But Fleta breaks it.
Yeah, the bot once more being taken away. Just a little bit of extra distance, shifting it back. The Dragons snatch it back up. Little golden box of potential victory right in front of them here. Golden line, I should say. Bot for now just going to be sat on the checkpoint. The forward spawns there, but now they're going to have to utilize it because Lip and Lee gone. Both get eliminated. Fleta trying to stay elusive, trying to stay alive. Pulse bomb not quite there. 30% away as Izayaki will fall, and once more the Chengdu Hunters will stop Shanghai Dragons.
Yeah.
They're rotating this back, and Lip, he's abandoning it. He's swapping over to the Sombra.
And that's, I think part of me thinks it's smart because you want to have fast heroes, but it's just not a good character, right? We've established that even Lip Sombra is not going to be enough to make Sombra work, and you say golden line of victory, it literally is now, because if you reach that, you just win. We're about to hit the OT. So forget about anything else. No one's having any dreams of finishing the map. Hunters are just trying to play this one strategically. They're just pushing the payload back over towards Dragon's territory, and then they back out. They don't need to force a fight. They just got to waste time.
Getting a kill on the Gaga would have been massive there if they could have gotten it, but they do not finish him off. The pulse bomb from Fleta. Not going to be able to find any value. Same with Jinmu's. Tracer's not finding kills, but Izayaki gets the shot across on the Monk. Now Nisha going to be taken down. That's the support set of the fight. Some space
gonna go in.
over the side of the Shanghai Dragons. It's going to come down to one final fight. The Chengdu Hunters, they lose way too many people. They need to reset right here, right now.
Jinmu shouldn't have backed out. Jinmu should have backed up both Leave and Gaga when their supports died. You just want to dive straight into Dragons, because if you get any trades, the OT hits, you respawn with 5, and the Dragons have less than 5. So if they missed out on the opportunity to trade anything, now this is going to be final fight territory. 2 ultimates versus 1.
So very close. The map 5 on the line. Mid-season madness, everything to play for. But Nisha, he's going to be taken down. The nano goes on the Fleta, and he immediately utilizes it. Rally rolling from Lee Jae as well. Prince Headed's now expiring from Monk, and the
my
kills
God.
continue to fly through. They are just getting ripped to shreds. The Shanghai Dragons, they do not want this to go to map 5. They say, no. This will, from now on, forever be known as 4 Map Friday. They will get the push across. They take it away from the Chengdu Hunters. They fought so very hard to try to keep the tournament alive, but unfortunately, this is its conclusion. A 3-1 series once more, as Shanghai will take it. Chengdu Hunters no longer can qualify for the mid-season madness.
It's just, you gotta give major credit to the Hunters for how close they actually play the Dragons. They are the first team so far to actually make the Dragons sweat on the Dragons' revenge tour. They come back right after starting out 0-6 in the mid-season madness. But like I sort of said here, Hunters officially now are out, and you have to start considering many moments that, not just this particular match. I mean, we can go back to Dorado. I think that's fairly winnable. New Queen Street, fairly winnable. Dragons, though, they're the more clutch team at the end of the day. When push comes to shove, when we hit the OTs, when we hit the very dire moments, Jinmu and Leave did God's work today. But the Shanghai Dragons, that last fight on New Queen Street, getting those cleanups, Fleta getting the double pulse bomb as well to even turn the fight around on New Queen Street, stuff like that. The nano save onto Lip, onto Rada, all these kind of things that, slowly turn things around for the Shanghai Dragons. That's what makes them the best team, because they win in the most dire moments.
Incredible clutch, shown here on New Queen Street, shown earlier on Dorado, getting that point B cap into the finish of the map. Shanghai Dragons, a team that you can never really count out. Like I said, they never say die. They fight to the bitter end, as do the Chengdu Hunters, but unfortunately, the end for them, for their tournament qualification run, it ceases here. But still, positive signs. And it's just unfortunate that this is, we're not going to be able to see them in international competition, at least not this time around. Obviously, playoffs at the end of the season and whatnot. But it seems like with the level that they're hitting, with Jinmu being able to play Tracer and really contend and go toe-to-toe with the likes of Fleta, it seems pretty damn good for Chengdu's Hunters, their hopes of being in the playoffs at the end of it all. But this is where the road ends. They still can do a slight favor, as we kind of teed up, for the side of the Shanghai Dragons later on by helping them get into that next slot. But enough about that. We'll talk about it a little bit more in a bit. For now, let's go ahead and highlight our player of the match. I think this could have gone a couple different ways, as per usual, with the side of the Shanghai Dragons, but in the end, it's Lip.
It is, and he showed up on the Tracer on map number 1. Really setting the stage for the Shanghai Dragons nice and early. Again, I hear that he didn't really have a lot of playtime on previously. What short playtime he did have last year had really good stats on, so glad that now he's kind of picking that up to alleviate Fleta from those duties. But really, we're talking about the Lip Ashe. This is the hero of the day for basically everybody. I mean, Lip performed so astoundingly good here across all of the moments he had on the Ashe. I noted as well, statistically, on Dorado, he finished with 20,004 damage. And again, no time bank. You know, when you see records of like gigantic damage numbers from the Overwatch 2 beta, like, oh, I got like whatever number. Usually those games go like major time banks, really long games. That was an under 20-minute map for Dorado. So yeah, it just insane stuff from Lip at the end of the day. As you know, New Queen Street was a far quicker map. I don't know about the 28 5-5 here. I have it on record. I have on my screen that he actually did get 20k on Dorado. So I don't know all the calculations at the end of the day, but take it with what you will. Ashe was the hero of the day for I think all 4 of our teams, and Lip was one of the top ones, if not maybe the best one today.
Yeah, it was very much just an Ashe showcase day. I mean, Leave, like you were talking about earlier with his stat line, utterly pounding. Lip, winning player of the match off the back of, widely. The Ashe play developed looking good. MN3 also winning player of the match for his own Ashe play earlier in our first series. So definitely a good day to be a hit scan stan, I suppose. But yeah, looking forward to seeing Chengdu Hunters, in their future series, because obviously we're still in the qualifiers. There's still matches that they have to play and whatnot. We're not into the tournament yet. That's going to be coming up in a little bit of time. But I'm excited to see the continued growth of the squad. Jinmu really finding his footing when it comes down to the Tracer. He continues to, I think, he looked better on the Tracer today than he did on the Genji. And he still had that wild, that 1v2 Genji clutch. His Tracer still looked more consistent on the maps that he was playing it, and that's something that at the start of the year I never thought I would say.
It's a big step up for the Chengdu Hunters, but now, unfortunately, some regrets in there, but a lot to look forward to in the future. If they do actually beat Hangzhou as well, that will be even sad. It will be great for Shanghai, but it'll be really sad for Chengdu because they're proving that they're actually one of the top 4 teams here, but they can't make it to the Midseason Madness anymore. And, they were very close to beating Seoul. Had they beaten Seoul, they would have actually already qualified in. Maybe, I think, well, depending on tomorrow's results, but it would have definitely helped them qualify in. But that's just going to be one of those multiversal things that a different Chengdu Hunters did, but this one, unfortunately, has not qualified.
No, they have not. And I mean, Fusion fans, you can all breathe a sigh of relief. The Shanghai Dragons, they got it done for you. You will be a part of the Mid-Season Madness tournament. So a little bit of stress off of you for the future matches that are going to be coming up. But obviously, you still want to be able to get those Ws. But yeah, I mean, that's going to do it for us this evening. Just quick little day. Yep. I got him. Yay. Quick little day. Only 2 matches. 3 going to be coming up tomorrow, but I will be out. Those games are going to be brought to you by Avril and Leg Day as we change things up a little bit for you. So make sure you guys tune into that. And I believe NA, of course, is going to be coming up later on as well. So make sure you tune into the lesser region and show your support to those squads. But that's going to do it from us. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll see you on Sunday. Avril and Leg Day will see you tomorrow. Goodbye. Good night. We love you.
Starts now. Two down. Going somewhere?